The Leafs are in Sunrise, Florida, as they tangle with the Florida Panthers in Game 3, as they are up 2-0. And it's the first time since 1963 that the Toronto Maple Leafs have gone back-to-back in series and been up 2-0 in both series. 1963. 65 years ago, Mr. Ralph. I was around, and I remember that. The starting goaltenders, Joseph Woll tonight, 2-0 thus far in these playoffs, 4.01, 8.75 save percentage. Sergei Bobrovsky is 0-2 in this series, 4.70 and 8.20 save percentage for the all-star goaltender for the Florida Panthers. Face-off is brought to you by Alpine Credits. You own your own home and need a loan. Alpine Credits can help. Get approved at alpinecredits.ca. Teams at center ice. The referees are TJ Luxmore and Wes McCauley. And we are ready as the puck is dropped and we're underway. Leafs to the left and the Panthers to the right as it's cleared ahead along the boards and now played in over the line. Oh, just out of the reach of Matthews, and he would have been in alone. He comes out with a pass in front of the net. It goes through the blue paint and comes back to the point. Tanev to McCabe. Now to Marner. Marner's wrist shot in traffic. Deflect. They score! Matthew Nyes! Matthew Nyes! It is 23 seconds into this one, and the Leafs are out in front, 1-0.
I probably shouldn't talk. The Leafs look like
we're doing fairly well here without you, Mr. Ralph.
Story of my career. First of all, Austin Matthews almost has a breakaway. Then Austin Matthews almost scores on a wraparound. And then Mitch Marner with Matthew Nyes and Austin Matthews in front. And Joe, looking at the replay, Austin Matthews deflects this shot off the crossbar. And the rebound pops onto the stick of Matthew Nyes, and Nyes has the Leafs up early again.
Fifth goal of the playoffs for Nyes, and another centering pass, and Pacioretty just missed that. Cleared out at center ice. Bennett gets it in on the right side for Tkachuk. Tkachuk trying to drop it back, but it's picked off by Pacioretty. He's got it ahead, and Riley sends it back in on the left wing with a shot blockered away by Bobrovsky off the stick of Tavares. Whoa, what a start. Played in over the line, and the Leafs are going to get it up on the near boards. Chop that out at center, and it'll be grabbed off there by the defense, and Schmidt sends it back into the Toronto zone. Joey Woll handles the puck for the first time, teeing it up back of the net. Pass through center ice has gone down into Florida territory. Bobrovsky gives the puck away. Here's the puck into the far corner. Yarncrook trying to jam it out in front of the net, and the defenseman barges into Bobrovsky. The puck still free on the backboard. Cleared on the wing and now played back into the slot for Lawton. Long shot went wide of the goal. And Florida, under siege here to start this game, has it shot down into the Toronto zone. 1-0 Toronto early. Puck off a skate, comes off to the left wing boards. Panthers get there first with Greer, sending it around back at the net. Trying to come out of the corner with it with a shot is stopped by Woll on the short side. And Jake McCabe has some room on the left wing boards, and he's going to get it elevated into the center ice area. Bouncing puck sprang away there from Pontus Holmberg. Long shot taken by Thomas Nosek into the game now. And now we get a pile-up with somebody falling on top of the Leaf netminder.
And this is tough. We saw this happen twice in Game 2. Brad Marchand kicked the skates out from under Joseph Woll in behind the net. And then Aaron Ekblad in the second period. It was still goalie interference. Came in, missed the puck with his glove, and drove Woll into the net. And we talked about it then, Joe, that you knew that if it was the other way around, it would be looked at as retribution for the Anthony Stolarz elbow that he took from Sam Bennett and would probably be called. This is stuff the officials have got to get rid of, from a safety standpoint, because of what happened, especially earlier in the season. You got to protect the goalie.
So what you're saying, that officials have got to be better, Mr. Ralph?
Well,
you know what? That's the first time anyone has said that in this playoff year. Because I have thought that they have been right on the top of their game. Draw to the right in the Leaf end. Well, you're very critical of them, I know. Draw to the right of Wall, scrummed and played back behind the net for Benoit. Benoit trying to get away from the forechecking of Evan Rodriguez, and the puck is stolen, and Marner is out at center. Passes up on the right side for Matthews. Stops up at the half boards, and then a spinning shot was directed into the corner by Bobrovsky. Played back out at center and down to the Leaf zone. Marner and McCabe getting the assist on the early marker from Matthew Nyes, who has the puck out at center ice again and muscles it to the blue line but doesn't get it in deep. Now here the Panthers in over the line trying to get it into the corner. They do, looking for a man in front is Bobrovsky, but it comes around the boards and all the way down into Florida territory.
I think that goal's going to change, as I'm sure Matthews redirected the Marner shot.
I agree with you. Played up at center ice off a stick. Turnover again. Maple Leafs back in with Nylander. Trying to split the defense and got a shot away. That was blocked. And the rebound is played off the boards and out at center ice. Brandon Carlo for Nylander to Carlo. Looks for his defenseman, then goes up the middle and finds Pacioretty. Left wing 5 for Riley, and then a shot by Pacioretty on the drop pass. Ends up going off a stick and up into the screen and out of play. So everything you wanted to do coming into this game. Sit back, make sure you take the brunt of the attack. Don't get too running around. Let them have they're going to push, so don't break. That's exactly what the Leafs did. For the first 22 seconds. Until they opened the scoring. Boy, we had some quick goals, right? Nylander to start the series. Brad Marchand 15 seconds into the second period of Game 2. And now Matthew Nyes 23 seconds into Game 3. Face off to the right of Bobrovsky is scrummed, but the Leafs come away with it. Then get a shot on the goal, and that was stopped by Bobrovsky. 4 shots for Toronto already in this first period. 16 and a half minutes to go in it. Lobbing pass to center, broken up. Leafs send it back in, but I don't think anybody touched it, and a linesman has called an icing, and the linesmen are Trevor Knorr and Scott Cherry this evening. Wes McCauley working his second consecutive game.
Yeah, got in as
which is a very rare situation.
Yes. It was actually a substitution. A linesman left the game.
And he couldn't wear his own jersey because he would have had an armband on it, right? So he had to wear a linesman's number and a linesman's jersey when he went in to take over for Shandor Alfonso, I guess was the injured one. Played down into the Florida zone. Along the boards is Rodriguez, getting it up on the wing, and out come the Panthers with a pass on the left wing for Anton Lundell. Taken to the boards by Lorenz. Lorenz backhands it back down to the blue line. Jones is there. Got it ahead for Mikkola to the right wing side and into the zone. A pass into the slot area. Partially broken up, but carried on now by Luosterainen. Luosterainen around back of the net. Has it taken away by Benoit. And he's got skating room to his liking on the near boards to chip it ahead and get some help there from Pontus Holmberg, who gets it down into the corner. The puck comes around the wall to the blue line and out. And this has got enough to go for icing. And so it'll be brought back into Florida territory as we have played 4 minutes and 24 seconds into the first period, and the Maple Leafs leading by a score of 1-0. They still have not changed that assist. It should be Marner, or Matthews and Marner getting the assist on the goal. Draw to the right of Bobrovsky.
Be great to get this line going. I know Max Domi scored when he was out with Lawton and Lorenz in Game 2.
Domi won the face-off, but unable to shoot it was Bobby McMahon. And you just really think that Bobby McMahon's going to score an important goal. He has it back of the goal now, trying to work into the corner. Got it back on the slot, and a one-timer by Domi is taken on the chest by Bobrovsky.
Now, in fairness, the ice time hasn't been there for Bobby.
They've become the fourth line.
Yeah, and that's where even when Nick Robertson at times, people would say he's not scoring. And you look at the ice time, it's 10, 11 minutes a game when the top guys are getting 22 or 23. So you have to temper your expectations just a little. But certainly for Bobby McMahon, it has been a long time between goals.
Draw one, and then quickly whistle down on a hand pass on a face-off infraction.
Bobby McMahon, Joe, it's now been 19 games without finding the back of the net going back to the regular season. Just 2 assists in that stretch.
Sergei Bobrovsky has given up 10 goals in the last 3 playoff games, including the clinching victory over the Tampa Bay Lightning in games 1 and 2.
So nothing he could do on that one.
No. Played down into the corner. Leafs are able to launch it high to center ice, but out of the reach of Marner. Panthers get it ahead, and they'll backhand it down into the Toronto zone. Riley given a jolt on the boards. The puck along the wall is tipped out off the stick of Marner. Racing after it, Riley chipped it in over the line, but well out of the reach of Marner. And the Panthers have it back in their own zone. Marner trying to get to it was Nyes, and he's managed to produce a turnover as it comes back out into the center ice area. Jake McCabe gives it off to Nylander. Flipped ahead, and Pacioretty gets it in a little bit deeper. Now Bennett along the boards. Puck turned over at the blue line. Kept in by Tavares on the far wing. Tavares with it again to Pacioretty. Pacioretty trying to get it back to Tavares, but it was out of his reach. And it is cleared out and down the ice. Haven't had a wide shot of the arena to see how many Leaf fans are in attendance as the puck comes in on the left wing, and a pass in front of the net. Tavares wrap around, scores! Johnny Toronto! 2-0 Toronto! Holy mackerel, what a start in Game 3!
And Joe, this all starts at the Leaf end when Chris Tanev takes a hit to make a play where the Leafs eventually get it down the ice. He got absolutely drilled by Carter Verhaeghe, knew it was coming. And then Max Pacioretty finds Tavares on the far side. Tavares misses it on the backhand, but says, I got another way to get to the net. And that's circle the net on the wraparound on the backhand and tucks it in. Past Bobrovsky, and another point for Max Pacioretty, who has been a huge story for the Leafs since entering the playoffs.
5:57 the time of the goal, and the Leafs have a 2-0 lead. Pushed out at center ice. Yarncrook couldn't get it in. It's cleared back into the Toronto zone, but it's going to be an icing. And then, whoa, now, wow. Jonah Gadjevich all of a sudden has become the toughest guy in the league. Trying to get a run at the Leafs well after the whistle in behind the net.
Yeah, and this is what the Leafs have to stay away from, right? Let Florida be the team that takes the dopey penalty after a whistle in a scrum. We just said if Chris Tanev is going to take a hit from Verhaeghe into the boards, you can take a face washing to get on a power play.
Face off in the Florida zone. 2-0 Toronto. Leafs out shooting Florida 5-1. Nosek being warned on the face-off as Domi leans in, but the Panthers win the draw, and the pass comes up to A.J. Greer. He can't get into the Leaf zone cleanly. The puck bounces into the corner, though, and now fed around the boards by Oliver Ekman-Larsson and chipped down into Florida territory. Schmidt trying to work up the boards, couldn't get there. Now Bobby McMahon is all over his man Kulikov. McMahon working the boards. Too well covered there, but now Nosek will get it out into the center ice area, and Schmidt plays it up on the right side for Marchand. He had it stripped away from him, and Brandon Carlo goes after him. Marchand with a hit on Carlo. Centering pass didn't reach its intended receiver, and the Leafs play it around the boards, but it's cut off by Marchand. Marchand getting it back on the boards, and Domi trying to get it out as it comes to the point. Long shot, knocked down and smothered by Wall. And a big pile up right at the Leaf goal crease. And Brandon Carlo, just a small little play. Who was the, well, we can't see because they panned away from him. Who was the player? It wasn't Marchand. There was somebody else was going to get in on top of Wall. And Carlo just almost picked him up and just said, pardon me, you're going in the corner. It is 2-0 Toronto. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Very good friend of ours, Chris Clark, who was involved in the broadcast for so many years, telemedia and everybody else. His wife, Sue, is in hospital. Amanda, their daughter, has told me that she is listening and watching all of the Leaf games It's Sioux Strong, and we're wishing them all of the best. And
absolutely,
just a great family. And Amanda got in touch with me, and glad we're able to send along our best. Played out at center ice, and the Leafs get through center with Matthews across the line to Nyes. Spinning move to Matthews. Oh, what a play! And Bobrovsky comes up huge right there. That was as close as 3-0 as possibly could have been.
And
what a play!
And this is a 2-on-2. Nikola and Jones are the defensemen. And Matthew Nyes does the spinnerama and then throws it to the front of the net on a backhand where Austin Matthews redirects it, but into the equipment of Sergei Bobrovsky. Shots are 6-3, but the Leafs easily have been much more dangerous than the Florida Panthers. And I'm obviously talking about more than the 2 goals they've got up on the board already.
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
Well, for those that were going to question the...
Well, I know that, yes. Draw one by the Leafs. Carlo to his defense partner, Morgan Riley's shot goes off a leg. Carlo chops at it, got it in a little bit deeper, but the Panthers get it out into neutral ice, forcing Morgan Riley back into the near corner. He misses a hit, but gets it up on the boards, and the fight starts there. Now, here's Barkov trying to come to the net, and he does and scores! The captain of the Florida Panthers, Alexander Barkov, gets them on the board.
I think, Joe, originally Morgan Riley trying to clear it up the boards, hit the referee.
Tell me it wasn't Wes McCall.
And it was kept in, and then Barkov takes it to the net, and this is when, Morgan Riley hits the official. And then clearing it up the boards. And I don't know if this goes
off
in
Morgan Riley.
Yeah.
It does. Yep. Yes, it goes off Morgan Riley, and it went off T.J. Luxmore, the other official. So the Leafs give up one on a bad break. Seconds after it looked like it was going to be 3-0. So the Panthers have some life and are on the score sheet as a rolling puck goes down and is smothered by Sergei Bobrovsky.
And in a situation like that, it's a bad break in the sense that it's not like the official is trying to get in the way, right? You've got 10 guys coming at you at the corner to the right of Joseph Wall, and Morgan Riley, if he makes the play, though, he just gets it around the back of the net and out of danger.
So, in fairness, the Leafs have scored all 3 goals. Puck down into the Toronto zone. Trying to get to the net was Luosterainen. It goes around back of the goal, and Tavares starts back up ice for the Maple Leafs, banking it off the boards for Pacioretty. He sends it into the far corner. Nylander got there. Nylander back of the net for Tavares, looking for Pacioretty in front, but the puck was intercepted. 11:46 to go in the first period. 2-1 in favor of the Maple Leafs. Down into the corner on the far boards. Pacioretty ties his man up. Tanev was able to get it out, and at center ice, it'll be played in on the right side for Yarncrook as the Leafs are in the midst of a line change. He'll get it in deep, but it is grabbed off now by Sam Bennett. Here's Bennett coming out of his own zone. Pass intercepted by Toronto. Fed back in neutral ice and brought in over the line by Calle Yarncrook. He stops it up and plays it around back of the net. Lawton is in there along with Yarncrook looking for a loose puck that comes to the side of the goal. And they're going to finally get on top of it. But now it's the Leafs' alleged fourth line who's piling in on goaltender Bobrovsky as Yarncrook is going to have to untangle himself.
What the official is pointing at,
the puck was free. It was up against his pad, but it was not covered.
We got a penalty?
I don't know. We can't see the penalty box because of the screen here. They're showing us.
I thought the referee pointed at something.
Pretty good elbow throw on it. Willie Nylander.
That by Marchand. Yeah, Scott Lawton. The puck is loose on the left pad of Bobrovsky, and Lawton trying to jam it in.
And Yarncrook got filled in by Tkachuk, who continues the face washing.
Yeah, I think
afterwards.
Tkachuk might have a penalty.
I think Tkachuk's got a penalty. Yes, he does.
Well, the Leafs have said all along, right? You don't retaliate, make them pay.
Well, the power play is brought to you by your Subaru dealers. Hurry to the all-in-one event as the Leafs win the faceoff, and a shot is swallowed up by Bobrovsky. Hurry to the all-in-one event for great offers and experience all the features that come standard in a Subaru.
Leaf power play just 1 for 8 in this series. They started off in the first 3 games against Ottawa 5 for 9. But since that point, have gone just 2 for 16 in the 5 games coming into this one.
This is an enormous power play right here. Draw to the right. Tavares has been waved out, and he and Matthews have dominated the faceoff circle thus far in this series. And this time it is won by Florida and shot down the ice as Sam Reinhart won the draw. Marner will go back to retrieve it. Little head fake and drops the puck back for Matthews. Matthews through center. Nylander is trailing, but Matthews carries in over the line to Tavares on the right wing boards. Tavares back to the blue line to Marner. On the wing for Nylander. Into the corner for Tavares. Back to the point it comes. Nylander closing. Doesn't shoot it. Down low. Tavares a shot. That's got a crowd in front of the net. And it is shot out and down the ice by Florida.
No pay dirt yet, but the power play looks dangerous.
Here's Matthews starting out of his own zone. Drops the puck back to the trailer. It's Nylander. Nylander through center to the line. Drops it for Matthews. In over the line on the left wing side. Back for Matthews! And he deflected that on goal, and a good save made by Bobrovsky. Leafs trying to come away with a loose puck in the far corner. Stolen, been cleared, but not out. Marner keeps it alive. Marner into the corner for Knies. Knies stops it up. Matthews can't get to it. And out come the Panthers to center. Anton Lundell will backhand it. And it is grabbed there by, and a late hit by Lundell on Marner. And TJ Luxmore was standing right there. Oh, you can see the Panthers are desperately trying to get the Leafs goaded into things.
And yet, Matthew Tkachuk's already taken a penalty for trying that. Great opportunity by John Tavares. Got it to the net. Austin Matthews before that going to the net on another redirection that he tries. Yeah, this is a cross check right in front of the referee. Marner's laying at his feet looking up going, hey, bud.
I was going to say, it couldn't have been any closer because he landed at Luxmore's feet.
Get the face off in the Leaf zone with the second unit out.
9:45 to play in the first period. 2-1 Toronto. And the draw won by the Leafs. It'll go back down into the Leaf zone.
Max Pacioretty scored with the second unit.
Here's Morgan Riley. A pass in over the line, down into the corner. McMahon trying to get it out in front as it comes around the boards. But Oliver Ekman-Larsson couldn't keep it in. And it's back down into the Toronto end. 11-5. Toronto with the shot advantage. And a 2-1 lead. Right wing side. Oliver Ekman-Larsson set it in, but it's going to be offside. And another late hit. That time by, was that Ekblad, I believe? Yep.
Yeah. And then the look around as if, I
didn't hear the whistle, yeah.
So it looks like the number 1 unit's going to come out even though there's only 10 seconds left.
I think the term sneaky dirty has been used a lot, hasn't it?
Yeah, and like we said, when you go back to the very first penalty that was called in this series, Max Domi for cross-checking, and nobody could find the replay of it.
Shot out and down the ice by Florida, and that will do it for the power play. The Leafs had a couple of good looks early, but have not been able to expand their lead. Brought out at center and Marner. Flipping it in over the line and into the left wing corner and goes in there after it against Jones. Rubs him up against the boards. The puck along the wall. Marner got it freed up, but then unable to dig it out in front. It comes back to the point to Tanev. Tanev over on the far side for McCabe. Now to Marner. Marner with a shot in traffic. Blocked. Big rebound. Comes back to Tanev. Tanev to McCabe. McCabe's wrist shot is high over top of the net. Far side, Matthews battles in there with Niko Mikkola. And the Panthers can't get the puck out cleanly, and now they do. But back-checking diligently there was McCabe, along with Knies, as a long shot goes well wide of the Leaf goal. Kept in at the point and a pass into the slot. No one there except Scotty Laughton. And Laughton sends it high down into Florida territory. Chasing after it is Kulikov. Overskated it, but is able to get back to retain it and gets it out into neutral ice. Brought on now by Schmidt. He'll shoot it into the Toronto zone. 8 minutes to play here in the first period. Leafs up a goal. A centering pass comes back into the slot. A shot, and that deflects off a body to the near boards. Schmidt sends it purposely wide of the net and back of the goal. Battling for it, it comes back to the point. Kulikov keeping it alive. Now to Nate Schmidt, and a drive into the glove of Joey Wall.
And the Leafs are going to get a penalty. Yvonne Benoit took down Matthew Tkachuk. It was Brandon Carlo. And Tkachuk saying, look at my chin. It's got to be 4. But this is a dive. So Matthew Tkachuk says, you give it, and we're going to take it away.
So the penalty kill is brought to you by CMC Markets. Take your trading to the next level with $0 commission on stocks. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Want to thank everybody for tuning in and listening on a Friday night. Carolyn Ellis, who I listen to in the morning, she's on the country station. Then her trailer on her way to enjoying it, driving to the trailer. So we say hello to them.
You know, I'm a big country music fan.
I know you are. Yeah. Face-off coming in the Toronto zone, and Brandon Carlo has been penalized. And the Leafs leading 2-1, and the Florida power play in this series is 2 for 5. Leafs now 1 for 9 with a man advantage thus far in this series. The draw scrummed. It goes into the corner. Panthers come out with it to get it on the point to the far side, and a shot. Joey Wall got over there to make the save on Tkachuk. The Leafs get it to the line, but not out. Kept alive by Reinhart. Left wing side for Barkov. Barkov back to the blue line. Kept alive by Verhaeghe. Far side now again, looking for Tkachuk. It goes to the side of the net, and the shot was well wide, and it's caromed all the way out and down the ice into Florida territory. Back to retrieve it is Seth Jones. Jones dropping the puck back. Brought on by Sam Reinhart. Reinhart hits the blue line. Off a skate, but to Verhaeghe. Verhaeghe gets down into the corner. Rings the boards to find Tkachuk at the far half boards. In back of the net it goes for Barkov. Now to Verhaeghe. Back to Barkov. Barkov holds back of the net once more. Tkachuk getting it into the corner. Verhaeghe holds back to the side. Tkachuk with it once more. Looking in front of the net. Pass across. Barkov can't shoot it. When he did, it looked like it went off the shoulder of goaltender Joe Wall. Kept alive by Tkachuk. Dropping it back to the defense and into the corner. Looking for Jones. It comes back to Tkachuk. Tkachuk works to the half boards. A shot. That's wide. Barkov leaning for it and is able to keep it in. Jones gets his pass over on the far side, and a shot went wide. But Barkov has the rebound again. Half a minute to go in the power play, and it's been all down in the Leaf end. Barkov with it once more. Challenged by Benoit. Left wing side. Pass back in. Goes off a skate, but Barkov has it. Back to the far side. It goes for Reinhart. Reinhart down low. Centering pass. Reinhart shot it off the goal post. Rebound comes back. Barkov to the blue line. Jones holding. Back from Tkachuk. Shot blocked. Leafs are too tired to get to it to get it out. Penalty is over, but they're still under siege. One fresh pair of legs is on the ice, and that is Carlo. Playing around the boards, but not out. Shot down into the corner. Brandon Carlo gets it ahead, and Nyes, who gets exchanged, is able to flip it in. Brilliant piece of defense there by the Leafs on the penalty kill. Played out at center, and in over the line is Marchand. Dropping the puck back. Big save by Wall. And the rebound bounced over Marchand's stick. Nylander fails to get it out. Marchand spins it back to Forsling. A shot. That deflects and goes up into the screen.
Hey, they're not on the number one power play unit even, but the Marchand line has clearly been the most dangerous for the Panthers. And Morgan Riley may have put the first one accidentally into his own net, but he was right there when Sam Reinhart put one off the crossbar. So the Leafs get a bad break, then a good one to hold on to a 1-goal lead.
You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Matthew Nyes and John Tavares staked the Leafs to a 2-0 lead. Bobrovsky made an unbelievable save on Austin Matthews that would have made it 3-0. But then Alexander Barkov deflects a puck, and it goes in off the stick of Morgan Rielly. And it is a 2-1 Toronto lead here in the first period with under 5 minutes to play. Brandon Carlo playing the puck out at center, and it'll be an icing call as Pacioretty couldn't get it. Pacioretty got a 4-game point streak going.
You and I were talking.
Where was he on your bingo card at the start of the playoffs?
I've already apologized for my lack of faith, but I thought because of the age, because of the injuries, because of the time off.
Yeah. No.
I don't think anybody predicted this.
Draw to the right of Wall. One by Florida. Back to the point it goes. A long shot is bouncing towards the net. And it goes into the near corner. Tavares chases his man but can't get it away from Rodriguez. In along the near boards, Barkov to Rodriguez. Looking back for Barkov. Still with it. Tried to get a shot away. That was blocked by the Leafs, but they failed to get it out. Barkov into the corner with Tavares chasing. Now Carlo chases him. It's dropped back into the slot area for Ekblad. He couldn't get a shot, and the Leafs are going to get it out into neutral ice. Carried back into the zone, though, by Oliver Ekman-Larsson. He gets it ahead for Carlo. Carlo, a pass on the wing for Bobby McMahon. He fails to get it out. Brought in on a close play at the blue line. Now McMahon blew a tire to allow the puck to go to the side of the net from Marchand. The puck is still free back of the Leaf goal. They continue to battle for it. It's into the far corner, and Marchand getting it back to the point. It comes out over the line, and it is offside.
Well, it has been all Florida since their power play. And a lot of times you get a power play doesn't score, and if it's not effective, it could be a momentum stopper. And the other team builds off it, but because Florida had some good looks, they've just continued here.
Wall's made a couple of good saves.
Yeah, Lundell trying to redirect one from the goal line that Wall was able to get over and steal off the short side. Shots on goal now. They were 10-4 at one point for the Leafs. It's 11-8 now.
McCabe dropping it back. Tanev gets to the red line, shoots it in, bounced into the corner. Schmidt trying to get around back of the net with Yarncrook chasing him, and he'll get it out at center, but the Leafs have it there. Played back into neutral ice, brought in on a delayed offside by Florida, and Chris Tanev will drop it back now for Jake McCabe. McCabe up the middle, cross the line, and it'll be rolled towards the net. Easily stopped there by Bobrovsky. Panthers get it out and down the ice, but icing waved off by the linesman. Cleared by Wall to the corner. Played up on the wing, and now the Leafs come out on the right wing side with Brandon Carlo. Carlo's going to send it in. Challenged there by Mikkola, but no hit delivered. Played up on the wing, and out come Florida with a break now with Nico Mikkola getting it down into the far corner. Round back of the net. Carlo got a piece of him, but Mikkola gets it around back to the blue line. Kept in by Verhaeghe. And then a whistle, and we can't see anything because we've got a tight shot of Max Domi.
And judging by Max Domi's reaction, I think the Leafs are being penalized again. Well, I believe the same referee who missed the cross-checking call against Mitch Marner, DJ Luxmore, who was 2 feet from the infraction, has now called 2 against the Leafs, including a roughing penalty. Oh, wow.
Really? That was it? It could have been an elbow. I mean, Domi's arms were up. So they're calling it roughing, but I think it's more of an elbow. But penalty kill brought to you by CMC Markets. Take your trading to the next level with $0 commission on stocks.
Leafs do not have a shorthanded goal yet here in the postseason.
Draw to the right of Joey Wall. 2:47 to play in the period, and the draw won by Florida. Back to the point, swept around into the corner, cut off there by Jake McCabe. Got it ahead to Matthews, lead past Marner. Breakaway and a penalty coming. Marner in a goal! Boy, there could have been a penalty shot here as well.
There's already a holding the stick penalty coming, but they could have called. 2 on this play. It was a delayed penalty, Joe, and Marner had the breakaway. And you could easily have called another holding penalty as Marner got to the net. So we're going to play 4-on-4 for 1:46. Talk about how the Leafs, and it was right off the face-off.
Verhaeghe, right?
Yeah.
Grabbing the stick of
Tanev.
Chris Tanev, yes.
Boy, the great
But we're
pass.
getting the replay now on Marner. And,
maybe
Jones
not.
kind of reached around him, but I don't think he grabbed him.
Yeah.
You're right. On live action, it looked like
it was
like
a hold. Yep.
So 4-on-4 here for 1:44, and the Leafs will get an abbreviated power play. Panthers back in their own zone. Aaron Ekblad sending it around back of the net. The Leafs 2, Florida 1. Barkov starts out of his own zone to center. He hits the Leaf line, dropping it back. Puck taken away nicely there by Matthews. So much has been made about Matthews not being the offensive catalyst, but the defensive specialist that he has been.
And
on the Barkov line has been unbelievable.
But he has looked sharp tonight offensively.
Well, he had that wonderful chance, didn't he? Here's Nylander. Up on the right side for OEL. He'll shoot it in. Tavares is out there now for Toronto. Puck goes around back of the net. And here comes the little ball of hate formerly with the Bruins. Marchand to the line. Chopped at, knocked down. Puck comes free to him. Marchand with it again, dropping it off on the wing. Trying to drive the net, a centering pass. And it's intercepted, and the Leafs have an odd man rush going. Right wing side, Nylander. Nylander into the slot, and it was intercepted as he tried to find Morgan Riley, who was the trailer in the rush. Brought back in over the line by Jones. Broken up by the Maple Leafs. Tanev takes it back to the net. Plays it off on the far side for Morgan Riley. Riley will carry to center. He drops it off this time. Nyes carries in. Nyes with a pass back into the slot. And Pontus Holmberg had it taken away there by Kulikov. Leafs on the power play in 10 seconds time. Less than a minute to go here in the period. Cleared into the Toronto end. Round back of the net for Tanev. Now the Leafs on the power play for just a dozen seconds. Tanev steps out from behind his own goal. Carries to the blue line. Played it up on an open wing, but it was cut off easily. Schmidt with a long shoot in on goaltender Joey Wall. Tanev gives it back, and Marner starts out. You can see why Chris Tanev isn't on the power play. Brought back in over the line for Matthews. Matthews back to the point. Carlos sends it into the corner and around to the far side to Marner. Back to the blue line. It's going to sail all the way down into the Leaf end. And it is Wall playing it over to Carlo. Oh, and he got belted. No idea if he's back up on his skates, but I assume so. And a shot by Matthews. Rings high over top of the net with 2 seconds left. Time will run out.
Verhaeghe spins as he tries to get the last shot off. But boy, Austin Matthews, Joe, he had room over the right shoulder of Bobrovsky. And a perfect setup by Marner, who pulls up inside the blue line, throws it to Matthews for the one-timer. But Brandon Carlo with a pretty hefty belt as he got back into the Leaf zone.
Yeah, they haven't shown him on the screen, and obviously we can't see the bench because, well, we're not there. But the fact is that
and it's a clean hit.
Clean hit, but they cut out to see. I wanted to see him get back up, and he looks like he's all right. So we'll wait and see how things go here when we start the second period. So the Maple Leafs have a 2-1 lead after 20 minutes of play. We'll ship it off to Jim Taddy and Anthony Stewart. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Stream your favorite shows on your smart speaker. Simply tell your smart speaker to listen to TSN 1050 everywhere you want it.
Heading to the second period with the Leafs holding a 2-1 lead over the Florida Panthers in Game 3, up 2-0. And the second period is brought to you by Molson. Whether it's Canadian Ultra Export or XL, there's a Molson with your name on it. And a lot of the lads in the Unionville Recreational Slow Pitch League are enjoying a lot of Molson products as they go through their draft whilst watching the hockey game. And I announced the very first pick of the draft, and I announced that it was Shedeur Sanders. much to the chagrin or surprise of all of those old farts who are playing in this league.
I'm just thinking of all those guys sitting around in their suits waiting for their name to be called. And
exactly.
Come down to the
at
podium.
the Unionville, yeah. At the curling club in Unionville. Yeah, it's a lot like the NFL draft, I must admit. There must be 250,000 people out on the ball diamond.
Well, at least have to get back to the start they had. First 10 minutes of the opening period, they dominated the Panthers, but as Anthony's
puck is dropped. Sorry, yep. Rafi trying to help out those who are hanging in there with us. Yep, syncing it up. But you're right. Puck back in the Toronto zone off the back of the goal. Played up on the wing. The Leafs are going to get it to the line. Nyes gets it out. And Marner trying to come through center. Slid off and it goes into the far boards. And Nyes ran his man heavily to the sideboards right in front of the Florida bench. McCabe misses a hit. But you can certainly see the Panthers are trying to finish every check that they can. Played down in and around the boards to the far side. Tipped in front of the goal, but then shot down the ice by Florida on an errant pass. And an icing call will come here against the Panthers.
By the way, that goal by John Tavares, Joe, and we mentioned this before coming on the air to each other. It's the first point he's had since taking that elbow in overtime from Artem Zub. And not saying that he hasn't been effective. Saw him go to the net in the first goal of game one. But certainly great to see him back on the score sheet.
Draw to the right in the Florida zone. Scrummed. The puck comes in front of the net. Flipped to the line, but it won't clear. And now it does as the Leafs poke it out themselves. Nylander up on the far wing. Played in by Tavares. Pacioretty goes into the corner after it. Finishes his hit there. The puck comes out, and now Barkov gets it ahead for Reinhart. Reinhart will send it down into the Toronto zone. Barkov bumping there with a defenseman, and it goes off his stick as Carlo got his stick in the way, and up into the screen it goes. And the second period starting a little slower than the first one that already had a goal 23 seconds into it when Matthew Nyes from Marner and McCabe got the Leafs going.
They still haven't changed that, have they?
No. I'm with you. I'm with you. Every time we've seen it.
It looked like it was a redirection from Matthews.
Yeah. Face off in the Toronto zone. Scrummed. The puck comes back to the point. Kept in by Florida. Around back of the net. Lawton couldn't get it away initially. It comes back to the point. D to D now to Kulikov. Shot. Knocked away by Wall. Into the corner. Benoit with a good hit. Puck is played up on the wing then by Lorenz. And the Leafs will poke it out into the center ice area. Florida get back to the red line and shoot it back in. Benoit trying to reverse the puck along the boards, but it was blocked. Lawton plays to the far corner. Benoit got it up on the wing for Yarncrook. Yarncrook in a battle, but it doesn't clear. Comes into the slot area. Good play made there along the boards by Oliver Ekman-Larsson. And it's cleared up on the near wing, but the Leafs are still in their own zone. Benoit battling his man as the shot goes wide of the Leaf goal and back of the net. Sam Bennett coming out on his backhand to the point. It comes to Kulikov. Wrist shot coming. Where is it? Oh, caught up in the equipment of Benoit. He was trying to decoy the officials there, wasn't he? A little bit, Rafi?
Well, he decoyed his teammates.
Yes,
too.
He did. Lawton gets it down into the offensive zone, but now here are the Panthers back in over the line. Nosek with a shot. That's blocked. A rebound. Good save made by Wall. Another shot coming. A backhand in front of the goal. Good pressure here from Florida. Down into the corner. Ekblad and a whistle.
I think Florida's got a penalty for a trip. Bobby McMahon was taken down.
Interference is going to be the call, I believe.
And Bobby McMahon was taken down, trying to chase down the loose puck, but Joseph Wall comes up with his best series of saves here in this game. Save off the wing, he took off the shoulder and then kicked out the right pad on the rebound. Nosek dropped it. And who was it? Gadjevich. So two players inserted it into the series for the first time, come up with a scoring opportunity. Yeah, as Ekblad was bringing it down the boards. A.J. Greer took down Bobby McMahon.
So the Leafs to the power play. Brought to you by Subaru. Leafs win the draw. Marner plays it over on the far side. Matthews into the corner for Nyes. Back to Matthews. Matthews to Marner at the left point. Down into the corner. It'll go to Nylander. Nylander back to the blue line. Marner with a wrist shot. Scores! Tipped in front of the net. Nyes was there. I think it goes off his stick, but it could be Tavares, who was right beside him. Never mind. It's 3-1.
And Tavares the first to the bench for the high fives. And this is how the Leafs had success against Ottawa. It wasn't the fancy through the seam pass one time or into the empty net. It was a wrist shot from the point and either a rebound or a redirection. And Mitch Marner threads it through the legs of Sasha Barkov, who's coming out to challenge him at the point. And John Tavares simply redirects it. I think this joke glances off the Florida defenseman at the side of the net. It might have been Forsling. And past Bobrovsky, and the Leafs are back up by 2.
Tavares' second goal of the game, his fifth of the postseason. Third goal by way of the power play. And the Leaf assistant captain has got the Leafs out in front, 3-1. Puck down along the boards with McMahon, sending it down into the corner. Al Tkachuk. A rink-wide pass comes to center. Brandon Carlo knocked it back, but it is cleared down into the corner for Morgan Riley. Riley played around the boards. Tkachuk took a run at him. And then Tkachuk takes a dirty hit at one of the Leaf defensemen there as he tried to slew-foot him.
And some of the calls in this game have been interesting, haven't they, compared to the non-calls? And, I mean, you do understand. I mean, there was a missed call in overtime between Edmonton and Vegas.
Oh, boy.
And within 2 minutes of that missed call, which sent Braden McNabb to the dressing room, Edmonton ended it in extra time. But, I mean, it is, you know, the pace. We know. We get the replays. We get to watch from a different vantage point. It's a difficult game to officiate, but boy, it's important.
Played into the corner on a face-off win by Florida. Carlo takes his man down. Puck along the boards into the corner again to the side of the net. Couldn't come out with it, and it's cleared down the ice by the Maple Leafs, and there'll be an icing charge. That power play was brought to you by Subaru. Hurry to the all-in-one event for great offers and experience all the features that come standard in a Subaru. So the Maple Leafs are 1 for 3 with the man advantage. They are now 2 for 11 in this series with the man advantage as Tavares scores from Marner and Nylander at 2:52. So Willie's got himself 2 more points and another icing coming here against Toronto.
Well, we've really seen, even though the Leafs score on the power play, it's right back into the Leaf end on the Florida Panthers with the forecheck. As the Domi line will stay out once more.
Rodriguez has been given an additional assist on the Barkov goal. Shot from the face-off win, went wide of the Toronto net, played around back of the net by Reinhart to the left point. Kept in there by Florida. Chipped around back of the net. It'll come to the near corner for Ekblad. Trying to center, he does, and a shot deflects to the goal line. Down. Where's the puck? The referee's right on top and waving it off. No goal. But if you can find it in that maze of bodies, Brandon Carlo is there, and he's just kind of shimmy, shaking out past the goal line a little bit. Let's make sure we're all happy here. Where is the puck?
Now you've got 4 officials there looking.
There it is in the blue paint.
I think the one thing you have to realize is we're going to get a good look at it here. Boy, that was right on the goal line. Brandon Carlo swept it back under Joseph Wall. This was, I mean, it wasn't enough to go in.
Did you see what stick he was using? A broken stick.
Yeah, but that's not reviewable.
No.
Wait, what do we got here?
Well, they're looking at something. His stick had been broken, and I thought it was the knob of the stick, but it wasn't. So this...
But it's not reviewable.
No, that's not... No, that's...
The only thing they can look at...
He breaks his stick.
Oh, my God. And then he may have covered the puck with his glove. I'm not sure that's reviewable either. And that's a penalty shot if he's covered it. I mean, I do believe the only thing they can look at is whether the puck crossed the goal line or not. And I don't believe it did. But there were about 9 other infractions that went on.
I don't think he covers... If he covers it with his glove, it's in the net.
You do see the puck over the goal line. But when did the whistle go?
Well, we're going to looked at here.
Yeah, we finally got a look at it. And was the goaltender being pushed into the net?
So now, all of a sudden, you've got...
Well, this may count.
Oh, there's the puck in the net, yeah.
After reviewing the play, the puck completely crosses the goal.
3-2. Looked like the Leafs dodged a bullet, but they got nicked. And the Florida Panthers, I believe Sam Reinhart might have been the last Panther to jab it across the goal line. And Florida's come right back to within one.
Boy, that was a goal line stand, though, wasn't it? My goodness.
This is the danger, Joe, of continually icing the puck as well, isn't it?
I mean, the Leafs have been 54, 55% on the face-offs, but yeah, there's no question the puck goes in over the line. And it is 3-2 here with the teams trading goals thus far in the second period. But what would have happened if it was ruled no goal? I don't believe that you could review the fact that he was playing with a broken stick that kept the puck out of the net. So it is 3-2. And it is cleared right back into the Toronto zone. Tanev trying to get down there, knocks his man down, and it is Jake McCabe getting it up for Matthews, and up the pass goes to Marner. Marner in over the line, trying to drop it back, and it's cleared to center ice where Tanev will shoot it right back down into Florida territory.
And number 5.
Here's the Panthers bringing it out of their own zone. Rodriguez will shoot it in. Around the boards it comes to the near side. Bouncing puck goes to the Leafs, Benoit, and they'll get it high to center ice. Pacioretty got it in over the line, but without any control. Al Marchand misses a hit, and the Panthers get it in over the line, but it goes off the skate of Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Pacioretty around the boards for Marner. Marner will get it to the line, and out. Benoit absorbs a hit there from Tkachuk. The puck brought back in over the line. Odd man rush here. Trying to go to the net. They score! Verhaeghe set up beautifully there by Sam Bennett to tie the game.
Yvon Benoit stood up to make the hit just outside the Leaf blue line. But once Florida got control of the puck, he was trapped. And the 2-on-1 coming in was perfectly executed. Mitch Marner just couldn't force the puck out to the neutral zone. It just got out over the blue line. And then Bennett with Oliver Ekman-Larsson diving to try to take the pass away. Bennett holds on to it long enough to get around Ekman-Larsson and throw it back to the top of the crease, where it's easily snapped in by Carter Verhaeghe, and another Leaf 2-goal lead has disappeared here.
Reinhart with his third, Verhaeghe with his third. And it is a tie, 3-3.
Craig Berube has called a timeout. That worked. Is that game 2, Joe, that he called it?
Yep. Just to get everybody settled down a little bit.
And with Sam Bennett as well, I don't think Joseph Woll thought he could get the puck across the crease because he bit hard following Bennett to the post. But really, since the Leafs have gone up 2-0, it has been all Florida.
Played back into the Toronto zone, and Tanev goes back to recover the puck. Chris Tanev steps out in front of his own goal. Looks up on the right wing, then carries to center and is going to slap it in. Round on the boards it is Ekblad. Trying to get it freed up in the corner. Barkov is tangled up there. Tavares is tackled. And so is Pacioretty trying to kick it free, and he does to Nylander. Nylander's pass is gobbled up, though, and brought out at center as Verhaeghe gets it up on the wing, and Rodriguez gets it the rest of the way into the Toronto zone. Leafs with it in their own territory. Long lead pass for Tavares in over the line and into the corner. Chopped back of the net by Nylander. And now here the Panthers working out at center, but it is knocked off a stick and into the Leaf bench and out of play. 13:53 to play here in the second period. And the Florida Panthers have scored 2 quick goals to tie this game at 3s. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Joe Bowen along with Jim Ralph. We've got Cameron Moore pushing. Oh, no, he's in charge. How could I possibly say he'd be pushing buttons? Josh Poulos pushing the buttons. Cameron Moore's behind the glass thing here, acting like a big shot.
Hard to believe the shots were only 15-13 favoring the Florida Panthers, because we said right up until Barkov's goal, 7:38 into the first period that made it 2-1. It has been all Florida, and it looks like they've got their swagger back.
Face off in the Florida zone. And the Panthers getting warned or thrown out? Thrown out. Yep. So Greer will move in to take the draw with Scotty Lawton, but the Panthers control the face-off and bank the puck out at center. Chip back to the red line, but quickly shot by Gadjevich back down into the Toronto end. Brandon Carlo gets it out at center. Jarnkrok sends it down into the corner. In goes Lorenz. He can't come up with it. Puck back out at center ice for Florida and fed to an open wing, and then it is shot into the Toronto zone by Greer. Puck comes back along the left wing side, and a shot from an angle is covered up there by Wall, and Greer slides in to create a bit of a disturbance, but a face-off will come in the Toronto zone nonetheless. 13:22 to go here in period number 2. Game 4 will be Sunday night, 7:30 start. Note the start time. So Mother's Day. Get everything done and then settle in for Game 4 of this series. Face off to the right of Joey Wall. Matthews won it cleanly. Back of the net, cleared along the boards and chipped out and down into the Florida zone off a body, so no icing. Mikkola taken to the boards efficiently. Marner around back of the net with it. Got it back to the point. Shot coming in traffic that was deflected wide. And now the Panthers get it out into the neutral zone as Marchand's pass was deflected by Marner back into Florida territory. They try to stretch things out by playing it around back of the net. Played off the boards then by Mikkola to center. Tipped back for the Leafs to the line. Marner couldn't get in over the line. Panthers again to Marchand. He drops it back to Marchand, trying to drive. Good play made there by Jake McCabe to deflect it down into the corner. McCabe around back of the net, but it comes to the near wing. Ekblad keeping it alive for the Panthers as they go back to the point with it. Now a shot coming, and it was deflected wide. Another shot deflects wide of the Leaf goal. At back of the net, it is grabbed off there by Benoit. Benoit for Pontus Holmberg, ahead for Domi. Domi back for Holmberg. One man back, Holmberg in over the line from an angle, and the shot is swallowed up by Bobrovsky and held for a face-off in the Florida zone.
It's tough to get back to this show. What they were doing in the first half of the opening period, what Florida's doing now. Chip in, pucks deep, be physical, get in on the forecheck. As Jake McCabe did a great job, a sprawling play to knock the puck off the stick of Brad Marchand, who was taking it to the net from the left wing circle. And then Luostarinen, I thought maybe got away with
a bit of a knee, eh? Yeah, I agree.
Well, it looked like Like McCabe might have lost the blade on that play as well.
Leaf equipment guys are busy on that on the bench. Face off in the Florida zone. Tavares to take the face off, joined by Nylander and Pacioretty, but it is won cleanly and flipped high to center ice now by the Panthers, who can't get into the Leaf zone cleanly at first. Rodriguez then had his shoot-in block, and on second effort, he'll get it down in back of the Toronto goal. Wall trying to play it along the boards, got it up on the wing. Knocked back now by Florida. Played into the corner, out of the reach. It comes to the side of the goal, knocked back into the corner by Wall. Florida with it again, but a pass intercepted by Tanev, and Tanev gives it off to Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who plays it ahead for Nylander, who circles back in his own zone before playing it ahead.
Too many men.
Too many men on the ice. It was right in the middle of an exchange. Nyes and...
Well, now they might be just saying it was early substitution, hitting the guy going off. I don't know if this is going to be a penalty. Well, I'm hearing booing, so I'm assuming that's what it is. We haven't been able to see the official make the call. Pacioretty was getting off, and Nyes. And the good thing was Pacioretty didn't touch it.
Attempt to touch it.
Yeah.
11:37 to go in the second period, and the game is now tied 3-3. A 2-0 Toronto lead evaporating, and it really should have been 3-0. I mean, the save Bobrovsky made on
Matthews' direction, Matthews line out to take this face off.
Back again in the Toronto end. And being waved out of the face-off circle, I believe, is Lundell.
Well, the two linesmen, are communicating.
So Luosterainen moves in and draw one cleanly by the Maple Leafs. Played around back of the net for Morgan Rielly. Riley's pass through center gets down into Florida territory. Matthews chases. Nyes unable to get to it. And now here are the Panthers getting it to the Leaf blue line, where it's quickly played back by Marner to Rielly. Rielly got it ahead. Nyes barrels down into the corner after it with Seth Jones. Can't get a hit in on him. Marner unable to block it, and the Panthers bring it through the zone into the Leaf end. But diligent back checking by Austin Matthews took it away. Now to Morgan Rielly. Shot down into Florida territory. Played back to the net by Mikkola, but stolen back by Scotty Lawton. Into the corner for Marner, trying to center, and it went off a skate and went wide. And the Leaf falls in the corner. Who is that?
Lorenz.
Yep, Steven Lorenz. Unable to play it. Yarncrook trying to chip it along the boards. Lorenz swinging it around to the near side. Benoit pinches to keep it in. Coming out from behind the net. Lorenz with a shot. That was blocked. Lorenz gets it again and gets it back to the point. Shot into the glove. Or deflected, rather, past the glove of Bobrovsky and up into the screen. Play whistle down.
Probably the best push that the Leafs have had here in the second period. They do have the power play goal by John Tavares, but not a lot of offensive zone time 5-on-5. 10:27 to go. Leafs were up 2-0 and 3-1 in this game, and Florida's battled back 3-3 here now in the second.
Face off in the Toronto zone. 10:27 to play in the period. Draw scrummed. Cleared into the corner off the goalkeeper's stick. Back of the net is Domi. Domi working it back to the point. Here's Oliver Ekman-Larsson with a shot that caroms off a body and goes wide. Domi is manhandled and thrown to the ice by Kulikov. And a penalty is coming here to Florida.
Holding is going to be the call. I think Max Domi sold this pretty well. As Kulikov has words with the official as they both head towards the penalty box.
Personally, I thought it was a double arm bar.
Yeah, well,
one of those great wrestling moves, Mr. Ralph, personally, but...
Yeah, I think...
But in wrestling, things are sold, as you well know. Not everything is as you see it.
Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, it's a pretty good hold, but Max decides, I think I can just let the feet come out and go down. And the Leafs have an opportunity once again with the extra man to take the lead.
Power play brought to you by Subaru. Hurry to the all-in-one event for great offers and experience all the features that come standard in a Subaru. Tavares to take the draw. Johnny Toronto has got two of them and wins this faceoff. Back to Marner. Into the slot for Matthews. Pass across and it deflected away from Nylander. Nylander working the boards, but it is stolen and back to Matthews. High slot, still with it. Now to Marner on the near wing. Marner looks to the corner and finds Nylander. Back to Marner. Marner to Matthews. Centering pass. And Nyes couldn't get a stick on it before it was deflected away by Bobrovsky. Leafs with it back in their own zone after it was iced. Matthews starting out with it. Minute 25 in the power play. Matthews to the line, in on the wing for Tavares. Back to Matthews, who was just out of his reach. Matthews knocks his man down, but the Panthers are able to get it out into the center ice area. Marner working it up on the left wing for Nylander, who gains the zone. Works down to the half boards on the near wing. Cycles it back to Marner, cutting to the front of the goal. In the slot, doesn't shoot it. Down into the corner for Matthews. Back to Marner to Willie, a shot. And that went off a body and went wide. Cleared on the boards, but not out. Tavares keeping it into Marner over on the far side to Matthews. Austin Matthews holds. Captain at the top of the circle, now into Tavares. Tavares back to the point to Marner. Marner holds. Off a stick, though, and it's going to be Nosek getting it out and down the ice. Now the Leafs turn the puck over, but they are going to regain it in their own zone. 23 seconds, second unit on. Shot in by Morgan Riley. Domi after it on the far side along with Pacioretty. Pacioretty can't come up with it, and out come the Panthers at center with Marchand working against Riley. Marchand in with a backhand. That went off Riley's stick and over top of the goal. Marchand unable to come up with the puck, and the Leafs with a second left in the power play get it down into the Florida end for Pacioretty. Pacioretty around back of the net. Bobby McMahon couldn't knock it down, and the Panthers get it out at center. Leafs 3, Panthers 3. A delayed offside here, going to be whistled down, and it'll be brought back out into the center ice area. Leafs power play really didn't get a chance at the net, or at least didn't engineer one. And as a result, we remain tied 3-3. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. You know, a good play-by-play man and an outstanding color commentator would have realized that number 23 scored 23 seconds into the game.
Oh, I knew.
Well, why didn't you say it?
I think we did say he scored 23 seconds.
Yeah, but we didn't give it the number 23. Well, he did. That got the Leafs off and running, but it is a 3-3 tie here now in the second period. Played out at center ice. Here's Tkachuk in over the line. Tried to drop it off. Cleared away from Bennett by goaltender Wall. Now around the boards to the far side. The Leafs reverse it, and it is played by Benoit out into the center ice area. Lawton pushing it a little bit further, but Yarncrook couldn't come up with it. And then as it's shot towards the Leaf zone, it is deflected up into the crowd and out of play. Leafs 3 and the Panthers 3. Shots are as even as you can get, 15-14 in favor of the Florida Panthers.
This is really not the series we were expecting, as we're getting now 2.5 games in. We thought it would be the low chance, low opportunity, but both teams have shown that they can score quickly and in bunches.
Draw control by Toronto. Fed off a stick down into Florida territory. Bobrovsky leaves it there. Marner into the forecheck. Got it into the slot area, but Matthews was too well covered. Bennett will shoot it back into the Toronto end. Down the boards goes Oliver Ekman-Larsson to get it along the wall for Tanev. Up on the wing for Marner. To Matthews. His backhand doesn't clear, though, and a shot whistled wide of the net from Ekblad. To the near point for Jones. Back in around the boards. Matthews had a chance to clear that and didn't get enough on it. Now he saucers it out at center for Oliver Ekman-Larsson. He'll get it the rest of the way into Florida territory. Nyes into the forecheck, but couldn't come up with a hit as Lundell gets it out and down into the Leaf zone. Out of the goal comes Wall to play it around the boards for Riley. Riley gets it ahead. Tavares gets it out, but not far enough because it's shot right back in again into the Toronto end. Back of the goal, Riley playing it along the boards and out off a body down the ice, but it's going to be an icing call against Toronto, and it'll come back into the Leaf end. A 3-3 tie. Boy, for what you thought was going to be a low-scoring, hard-hitting series.
Yeah, low chance.
Low chances. I mean, the shots on goal reflect that, but the scoring doesn't.
One thing the Leafs haven't really had is an opportunity off the rush in this game.
Leafs have scored 12 goals in the 3 games thus far, and we're just past the halfway mark of game number 3.
They did not score more than 2 goals in a game 2 years ago when these two teams met in a series that was won in 5 games. But Paul Maurice is upset at something.
Yeah, he's watched something on one of the tablets and given it to the linesman on the whistle here.
Maybe he's saying the puck didn't come outside the line.
Yeah. Here's Benoit dropping it back. Jake McCabe coming out with it with a pass for Nylander. Up on the wing, Pacioretty chipped in over the line. Willie couldn't haul it down, and Tavares was unable to get it away there from Barkov. Out come the Panthers with a long lead pass that's gone down into the Toronto end. Grabbed off by McCabe and banked out at center ice. Interesting, McCabe and Benoit now a tandem here, at least on this rush, and now here are the Panthers with a pass into the slot, and it's kicked away, and Nylander, who was going to the bench, is able to get it out, but not far enough for Max Pacioretty. Leafs will get a change started now.
Right, Ekman Larsson and Tanev, Joe, have been out a few times together in this game.
Here's Benoit and McCabe, and a shot that's blocked. It goes around back of the Leaf goal. A centering pass intercepted. Marner looks up ice and finds Benoit. He'll get to the line and in on the left wing. Rings the boards with it before taking a hit. Down the boards, Matthews couldn't come up with it. Cleared along the wall, and out come the Panthers. 4:56 to go in the period. In the slot, a shot scores! Oh, my! Joey Wall will want this one back.
I think it's going to be Tomas Nosek, who had 1 goal in 59 games in the regular season. His first game of the playoffs, and this is a wrist shot from long range. I don't know if it hits anything, but it goes off the blocker and into the net. Yeah, I think this is straight in. There is some traffic in front, but he overplays it. He overextends the blocker to his right. It hits off the inside of his blocker and catches the net.
So for the first time in this game, the Florida Panthers have the lead. It's 4-3. Trying to claw their way back into this series, down 2-0. And we get a whistle in the center ice area.
Let's be completely honest. The first 2 wins in Toronto, there were a lot of bad goals given up by Sergei Bobrovsky. The winner by Mitch Marner in Game 2. You had Chris Tanev's goal, a wrist shot from the point that bounced in. And now the Florida Panthers have their first odorous one here in this series.
You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Panthers get a goal from an unlikely source. Tomas Nosek at 15:07. And they have a 4-3 lead.
I mean, they have been the better team. Leafs got off to the great start, but since then it has been all Florida. I mean, you talk about getting fortunate breaks. The better you play, the better the odds of getting them. Like we said, just 1 goal in 59 games for Nosek in the regular season. And his first playoff game produces a go-ahead goal.
Now, Dennis Hildeby is the backup goaltender tonight. Anthony Stolars did not make the trip, which is pretty standard. If you are suffering from any kind of a concussion, you're not getting into altitude in an airplane. So he is not in Florida. Domi in his own zone, flipping it ahead for Pontus Holmberg. Got it ahead that Bobby McMahon couldn't come up with it, and the Panthers have it back in their own zone. Long shoot in, goes into the Toronto zone. Tanev got his man tied up. Leafs got it to the line and out, and then it's brought back in offside, but it's a delay that is going to be allowable to have the Leafs bring it out. Brought down the left wing side for Holmberg. Holmberg works down into the corner. Holmberg left it there. Tavares after it, but it comes back up on the wing. Riley got it off to the far point, but Carlo couldn't reach it in time as Nylander works back to his own blue line with the puck. Willie turns, got it ahead for Pacioretty. Pacioretty into the corner, rolled it in front. Tavares couldn't settle it down with his skate to get a stick on it. Panthers shoot it right back down into the Toronto zone. Down into the corner goes Rodriguez. Rodriguez back to the point. Ekblad to Forsling. Forsling shot, deflects wide. Where's the puck? It's back at the point. Forsling fakes the shot. On the wing and a shot, and a wrister by Rodriguez went just wide. Again, good pressure here from Florida. Riley able to get the puck free and get it to Pacioretty. And Pacioretty gets it out, but Nylander doesn't get it into the zone for him. Played right back down into the Toronto end. Both teams are changing. Morgan Riley. Lead pass off Pacioretty into the Florida zone to allow him to get to the bench. But Bobrovsky is able to play it along on the boards, and it's elevated through center ice. Brought in on a delayed offside by the Panthers. And that will stop play with 2:43 left to go here in the second period.
Joseph Woll has played 5 complete, well, almost, this is his 5th complete period of the series. And twice show he's given up 3 in a 20-minute segment. He went in relief.
Yeah, he moved too quickly on that shot, right? It was fluttering, and
if he doesn't move, it hits him.
Yeah, exactly.
That was my strong point.
Played into the Florida zone. They'll launch it out at center and down into the Leaf end. McCabe back on the boards. Playing it up along the wall and out at center ice for Matthews. Matthews trying to chip it along for Nyes. That didn't work. And now here's McCabe tossing it back for Benoit, who gets it up on the wing and played in over the line, but out of the reach of Matthews. Played high to the line and out. Nyes got nailed from behind, but brought in now by Florida. Backhanded around back of the net. Cut off there by the Leafs, back of the goal. Benoit poking it free. Matthews with it now, just getting it out at center. Kulikov shot it back in. Down the boards, Benoit blocking it, but doesn't get it out. Pass into the slot. Here's Verhaeghe trying to get a shot away. Great back check there by Yarncrook. It comes in front of the net and a shot. Blockered away by Woll, and it's going to go up into the screen and out of play.
I tell you, Joseph Woll does not look comfortable. And it's one of those games you have to battle through, and that's what that save was. He wasn't really set and square, but the puck came out to the high slot. Nate Schmidt went to let it go, and Joseph Woll just came out and got big. Oh, boy, that hit the crossbar.
Yeah, I thought he got it with a blocker, too, Jimmy, but you're right, it off the crossbar. But he was out. He battled to get out there. Draw in the Toronto zone. Lawton will lean in, and again, the Florida centerman is being waved out. Greer will replace Nosek. And the draw scrum, but it comes back to the point. Kept alive by Kulikov down into the corner. Back of the net, Tanev got it ahead, and it's played out at center ice, and here's Lorenz with one man back. Trying to jump in is Lawton with a shot by Lorenz. Lorenz back of the goal, and the net is pushed off its mooring by Nosek.
Boy, now the Panthers are going after the Leafs. But this will be interesting, Joe, if it was deemed that the puck would have gone in had the net not moved.
The puck is in the area where it would be a goal. if the net was on its mooring. But
I
it doesn't look like they're doing anything to even remotely think about this at this point. Tanev having a word with Wes McCauley. And how did Nosek end up in the net? Well, he goes in by himself. Okay. He was in the back check trying to catch Lawton.
I don't think the puck goes anywhere close to the goal line, does it? No.
No, it's covered up by Bobrovsky. And now they're going to have a discussion as to why if the net was, it's hard to give Nosek a penalty to say that he intentionally knocked the net off. He
took his man back and then, not sure which Leaf it was, it sort of peeled away at the last minute.
I think that was Scotty Lawton, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. But no, the puck never comes close to crossing the goal line.
Not until well after the fact.
Yeah. But boy, I tell you, if that would have been tucked in under the glove, I think it would have counted.
Well, the rubber post would have been the marker. The marker for sure.
Leafs need something good to happen here.
Down 4-3 with 1:19 to go in the second period. Quite a few Leaf fans in behind the Toronto bench. And Nosek is back on the bench after that collision with the goal. Panthers get it out at center and down into the Leaf end, but an icing call is coming. And the Leafs could use an offensive zone face-off win here to create a little offense.
Well, between Auston Matthews and John Tavares, they've won 20 out of 28 face-offs. So as a team, they're 65%.
And they've been very good in the face-off circle in this series, better than 54% for both. This time the Panthers win the draw. They get the puck to center where Riley knocks it down on the wing for Carlo. He'll shoot it in. Down the boards goes Marchand, carrying it around back of the net. Played it up on the wing, and the Panthers get it out with a pass ahead for Jones. Seth Jones sending it into the corner. Riley and Marchand after it. Marchand went for a spill, and out come the Leafs to center. Nylander trying to chip it in, and it's going to be called offside. It was blocked right at the blue line by Seth Jones. And Nylander chipped it again, and by that time Riley had preceded him over the line, and the face-off would come out into the center ice area.
That last offensive zone face-off, Willie Nylander was out in place of Matthew Nyes with Marner and Matthews. As Craig Berube, I think, is now trying to reconstruct things to try to get some sort of chemistry and jump back offensively.
Played into the Toronto zone. McCabe, far side for Tanev. Tanev launches it high to center. Half a minute to go in the period. And it is cleared right back down into the Toronto zone, and McCabe gets it ahead. Here's Pontus Holmberg through center. Launches it high, wide of the goal into the far corner. Tavares into the rush. Pontus Holmberg comes up with the loose puck, though. Holmberg trying to center, but he was taken down. And now here the Panthers with 10 seconds left, getting it to center and getting it in over the line, where Tanev will play it around back of the net to the near boards. And it'll be pinned up against the wall here, which will draw a crowd of late hitters. Led by Aaron Ekblad, who has made a career out of this. And there'll be no time left on the clock once we get everything all sorted out.
Leafs have got to stay away from this. Holmberg. This is exactly what the Florida Panthers want. Even Sam Reinhart is in, flexing the muscle.
So they'll go to their respective dressing rooms. And a big second period, the best period of this series thus far for the Florida Panthers. They score 3 unanswered goals to erase a 3-1 Toronto advantage and carry a 4-3 lead into the third period.
Well, you would say maybe the timeout, though, by Craig Berube did something. Although right now it's the ugliest goal of the game is the difference between these two clubs.
We'll ship it off to Jim Taddy and Anthony Stewart. It is 4-3 Florida. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. We head to the third period with the Leafs trailing 4-3. As 3 unanswered goals by the Florida Panthers erased a 3-1 Toronto advantage.
Well, you knew the pushback was coming from Florida. The Leafs need to push back themselves here in the third period. Remember in game 1, Florida came back with 3 goals to chase the Leafs and get it close. The Leafs have to do the same thing here. One thing we talked about during the intermission, Joey, is I said to you, we knew it wasn't going to be this easy.
Yeah.
You thought when the Leafs had the 2-0 lead early, you're thinking something ain't right here. And we're looking at the offensive zone.
We've had
but 17:46 for Florida, 12:46 for Toronto.
Yeah.
And a 5-minute difference is huge.
We've had a market correction.
Yes.
I believe in this day and age of everybody trying to wonder what the hell the stock market was up to. But it is a situation where the defending Stanley Cup champions have showed their mettle, and now the Leafs have got to find a way to answer that here in the third period. Down by a goal.
Florida Panthers are a perfect 3-0. And leading after the second period. This is only the second time in the playoffs the Leafs have been down heading into the third. The only other time was the Game 5 loss to Ottawa when they were shut out 3-0.
So we're getting set for the start of the third period. Leafs to the left, Panthers to the right. They lean in, and the puck is dropped. We're underway, and the Leafs win the faceoff. Matthews deflects it down into the Florida zone. Marner in pursuit, trying to get around there on Mikkola, but the puck comes up on the wing, and it is pushed over to the right wing side, played to the lead blue line. Quickly back the other way off Matthews' stick. Grabbed off by Marchand and played deeper into Florida territory as the changes are coming. Played off the boards and on the left wing and out at center off a skate. Leafs unable to get to it in time. And it is shot by Mikkola down into the zone. Oh no! And out of the net was Wall, and it came out dangerously close to the near post. And somehow, I think Wall dove back and deflected what was an empty net tally wide of the goal. Sweet Marion Joseph.
That's not going to give the teammates a boost of confidence, is it?
No. I got to watch it again, how it ended up deflecting, whether it came off the stanchion or whatever. But
no, he just went behind the net to stop it and went off his stick right back out front.
Puck down at the Toronto blue line, brought on by the Leafs to the wing and launched high into Florida territory. Bobrovsky leaving it back of the goal for Forsling. Well, if nothing else, I'm sure his heart rate is up a little bit now. Brought on at center ice by Schmidt. Nate Schmidt centers, steered wide of the goal by Wall. On the boards now, Nylander gets it to center. A centering pass at the red line, broken up. Nylander got to the blue line, but couldn't get it in over the line. Now to the other side. Flips towards the net, a bouncing puck in on goal. Tavares was there, but goaltender Bobrovsky got his stick on it. Bennett brings it back the other way, and he makes an extra move at the blue line and puts the rush offside. And it'll be brought back out into the center ice area. Talk about having your heart in your mouth.
Yeah, this, I'm sure we're going to get another look at it here. John Tavares, boy, that was almost kicked into his own net by Dmitry Kulikov.
Yeah, but off the heel of his stick, off his skate, to the side of the goal, and Lundell trying to get to the empty net with it, and the dive by Wall was enough to deflect it back behind the goal.
Sure, Lundell was going, what am I seeing here?
Yeah, no kidding. Draw one by the Panthers, and they're going to drill it into the Leaf end. Round on the boards, kick back of the net for Tanev. Tanev takes a hit, but can't get the pass up on the wing. Round back of the net. McCabe got a body check in, and the shot goes into the far corner. Tanev is first there for the Maple Leafs to get it up on the wing, but he can't get it out. Then is able to secure it again. Tanev getting it around back of the net, and then McCabe gives the puck away. Played back of the net by Nosek. Back to the point, it'll come to the right wing side. Flipped around back of the net. Tanev had to go off a stick, and the Maple Leafs are going to get it out. Up on the right side it comes. Bobby McMahon getting it down into the offensive zone and in with a good hit there on Mikola, but the puck goes free to the other side. Not out, long shot, blocked in front of the goal, knocked to the near board. Turning with it is Anton Lundell. He'll play it out into the center ice area. Leafs regrouping with Brandon Carlo. Just gingerly playing it in over the line, but quickly played right back out again by Florida, and then shot right back in again by Toronto. 3 minutes into the books here into the third period. Leafs down a goal. Brought to center ice now and in by Lundell. Round back of the net for Morgan Rielly. Reverse for Carlo. Carlo gets it ahead and off the board, just played to center ice, but Lawton couldn't catch up to it. Brought right back in again by Verhaeghe. He is turned aside at the blue line. Puck goes back to the center ice area where it is stolen back by Sam Bennett. Bennett on the right wing side goes to the front of the net, and a shot from the point. That stopped the scramble. Down his Wall. The puck centering, and Wall is going to cover up on it.
Boy, it's a battle for Joseph Wall right now. I mean, this is a point shot through traffic. But you can tell he's battling, trying to find the puck. Nothing's coming. It's not one of those games, Joe, where everything's easy. You see everything off the wings. This is a point shot, bounces off Oliver Ekman-Larsson, then Wall sprawls to get back to the post. And then when laying on the seat of his pants, fortunately, Sam Reinhart was from about the goal line and didn't have a great angle, and Wall was able to get the glove up and keep it out.
He literally had to sit on his haunches to get some kind of size in front of the net, and he was fortunate that the pass hit him right in the chest and then fell in between his legs, and he was able to hang on. Draw to the left of Wall in the Toronto zone, and everybody moving early, and again, Florida getting waved out of the face-off circle. Draw is scrummed. Where's the puck? Finally controlled by the Maple Leafs. Marner flipping it off the boards. Nyes trying to get a forecheck going, but unable to reach it, and it's played to center ice. Matthews has to wait for teammates to get onside. Didn't get it in deep enough, and the Panthers play it back to the Toronto blue line. Now Matthews against the boards, unable to reach it. It goes back to the net. Oliver Ekman-Larsson got a piece of the puck as it goes to Marner. Marner trying to stick handle his way out of traffic, takes it around back of the net. Panthers are changing as the puck comes back now, and the Leafs are trying to get a change in as well. OEL gets it ahead for Tavares. Tavares turns back in his own zone. Oliver Ekman-Larsson with it again. Far side now for Bobby McMahon. Up on the wing it goes, and it is flipped high into the zone. McMahon taking a turn here instead of Pacioretty on this line, as it is cleared by Florida to the Toronto blue line. Brandon Carlo to the red line, and back into Florida territory it goes. Quickly played out and into the center ice area. Carlo has to hustle back and is able to free it up as it goes now to Jake McCabe, who finds Nylander. Nylander for Carlo. Up the right wing boards and into the zone. Greer takes him to the boards. Out of the net, Bobrovsky quickly played up on the wing, and it's going to come out into neutral ice before being shot right back in by Toronto. Mikola getting it off on the far wing. Panthers are very adroit at protecting a lead, but this time they're going to find themselves having to face it off in their own zone after an icing call with 14:45 to go in the third period. Florida 4, the Maple Leafs 3.
This is a little more of what we were expecting in this series, although Florida had fallen behind a number of times in the first two games. So you weren't going to see lockdown mode, but now you're not seeing 2 or 3 forecheckers at once. A little more conservative for Florida.
Draw to the right of Bobrovsky. A hit in along the boards. Matthews couldn't come up with the puck, but Marner gets it back to the blue line. Flip back in again into the near corner, and Matthews trying to come up with it. Centering pass. Marner couldn't reach it. And it is Tkachuk getting it out at center ice. Morgan Rielly turns. Rielly with a pass up on the left wing. Nyes, a spinning move, going to send it around back of the net for Matthews. Banked back to the blue line, but the Leafs were in the midst of a change, and OEL wasn't in position. Now Wall is out of the goal again, but the puck is stolen back by Toronto. Rielly pushes it ahead. in on the right side for Nyes. Nyes works around back of the net. Nyes able to protect the puck nicely. Taken down there by Kachuk. The puck comes around the boards for Jake McCabe. McCabe back behind the goal. That got past Lawton. And the Panthers have it now and are bringing it out at center ice with Forsling. He'll shoot it into the Toronto zone. Leafs down a goal, 4-3. Scotty Lawton coming to center and to the line with a long shoot in. One of the Leafs was trapped inside the zone.
I think that was Pacioretty.
No.
No, Yarncroc,
I guess, yeah.
But, I mean, he had, somebody had to have him hog-tied, and it was probably Aaron Ekblad that we're seeing on the screen now.
Yeah, we couldn't see it because it was well ahead or behind the play before the cameras were able to get.
But I mean, it had to be rather significant. The puck went all the way to the Leaf end, all the way back to the Florida end, and Yarncroc was about 40
one of those
feet offside.
Accidentally on purpose kind of got tangled up. All right, it is 4-3 Panthers. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Well, it's taken the official score 2 periods to figure it out, but the opening goal is now Nyes from Matthews and Marner. Mr. Ralph, of course, had it immediately 23 seconds into the...
Now, we just saw trainer talking to the assistant coach, and I'm not sure if the Leafs are down a man maybe on the bench. But it was Mike Van Ryn that got the word from somebody, and there was just sort of a nod.
Well, it's a defenseman.
Yeah.
And is it, well, we've got...
Is it Tanev?
Yeah, I believe it is. Yep. Shot from a sharp angle by Riley is swallowed up
by
goaltender Bobrovsky.
What a loss that would be.
Well, I've said it many times that Christopher Tanev has been the Leafs' most valuable player this season. Never mind what anybody offensively has done. Face off in the Florida zone.
Yeah, it looked like everybody was accounted for except Tanev.
Yeah, on the bench. Yeah, there were 3 defensemen, and now we've got Carlo and Riley on the ice. Riley gets the puck back to Brendan Carlo. Wrist shot is blocked. And now the Panthers with a break down the left wing. And over the line is Rodriguez. Chased back nicely by Morgan Riley and forced wide. Then a long shot is gloved by Wall.
Boy, Brendan Carlo had lost his stick as well, so that was essentially a 2-on-1 coming back. And Morgan Riley does an excellent job of forcing the Florida player to the boards. Boy, the importance of getting it through. And I think he tried to go 5-hole on Rodriguez. And Rodriguez actually slammed the leg shot, blocked the shot, and took off the other way. Right now it's showing Chris Tanev, Joe, has played 19 minutes and 28 seconds on 28 shifts.
All right.
Well, pardon me, I think I got the wrong, that was last game.
Face off to the right in the Toronto zone.
12:41.
All right. Well, we can't keep an eye on the bench for you, and we'll have to hope that we will see some kind of reaction, or at least on the screen here, to know if Tanev does come back. But at this point, after what appeared to be the conversation with the coaching staff, that we'll wait and see. Well, you can't really speculate too much on it. Here the Leafs in the offensive zone, though, with Domi driving the net with a shot. That was stopped. There's a rebound. It comes to the side of the goal. Domi tried to flip it in front, and it's going to come to the line and out at center ice.
Get the feeling that the Leafs are going to bang one in. It's going to be ugly, huh?
Played ahead and in across the line for Domi. Domi along the near boards, tried to center. That was too well covered. Oh, good hit there by McCabe. And the puck comes back out at center ice. Now, we were talking in the second period about how McCabe was playing with Benoit and not with Tanev. And so,
but we did see Tanev with Ekman Larsson.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes. So it may have been something he was trying to play through. We don't know. Played down into the Toronto zone, and an icing call is coming here against the Florida Panthers. 12:04 to go in the third period. Florida 4 and the Maple Leafs 3.
The line of Domi, Holmberg, and Pacioretty, though, great job jamming it to the net, looking for a bounce.
Max hit the side of the goal when he was trying to get it in front. Matthews over the boards. Will take the face-off against Anton Lundell. And this has been the matchup that the Panthers have wanted. Here's Marner off a face-off win, trying to get the linesman the heck out of the way. Then a long shot wide of the goal. Nye's unable to get to it. Matthews pins his man to the boards. The puck goes around back of the net, off a stick and into the corner. Nate Schmidt getting it out into the center ice area. And Marchand stole it from the Leaf defenseman, but it is stolen back by Marner. Marner gets it up on the left wing. Morgan Riley into the slot area, but it's knocked away. Out come the Panthers on the left wing. Verhaeghe trying to get in over the line, and too well covered into the corner, then flattened by Nyes. Here's Morgan Riley starting back. Got it ahead. Barkov got in his way, and it was enough to send it down the ice for an icing, and so it's going to come back into the Toronto zone.
It seems like it's been, 4 or 5 times where the Leafs have run into the linesman, and we saw it on the first Florida goal where Morgan Riley hit the linesman, and we get Chris Tanev, thankfully, coming back out, so hopefully that was maybe equipment go.
Well, if it was, you would have thought it would have been Bobby Hastings, not one of the athletic staff. Puck along the boards and now brought in with a wrist shot that went wide of the net. He is just the ultimate warrior, is Chris Tanev. And his visage speaks proudly of that kind of attitude, doesn't it?
Missing teeth?
Yes, indeed. Out comes Nylander. Works to the line, and then Willie goes wide. Got a shot away, hit the side of the goal. Punched around the boards by Ekblad. And out at center ice it'll come. McMahon finds Tanev. Tanev trying to play it ahead. And it'll be played down into the Florida zone. Back to recover it now is Mikkola. Mikkola winds it up and starts up ice at center. Ridden to the boards there by Lawton. He'll go into the corner. Gadjevich trying to get it in front of the net. Too well covered there by Yarncrook. And now along the boards, Lawton and Yarncrook trying to get it out, and they will. It's back to the blue line turnover. Here's Scotty Lawton trying to get a bouncing puck to contend with, and he couldn't settle it down to get a shot. Played around back to the net into the near corner. Greer trying to get it up the boards, but failing. Around to the other side, it'll go to Mikkola. And he sends it high to center ice. Benoit right back in with a shot that is gloved by goaltender. And Benoit gets into a shoving session in behind the goal after Bobrovsky had caught that puck.
Benoit did a pretty good job of doing what Matthew Tkachuk does. He looks the other way and then gives a little shot to the face of Tkachuk. But the Leafs are now... Boy, that was a high hit by Rodriguez on Tavares in behind the Leaf net before that.
Willie with a good rush, but the shot for the short side went off the side of the goal. It is a 1-goal hockey game. Florida with the lead. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Leafs trail by a goal. Third period. 9:44 to play in it. Draw to the right in the Florida end. Panthers have had 21 shots. The Maple Leafs have had 19, and another icing coming here off a errant pass.
And the Leafs just 3 shots on goal here in the third period. The Panthers 2. So the Leafs got the forecheck version of the Panthers for about 30 minutes straight in this game, and now they're getting the shutdown version. As the Leafs have really had a tough time getting to the middle to generate any kind of scoring chance here.
Face off outside the blue line. Now that I guess, I'm not sure why this isn't icing. At any rate, Leafs control the puck at their own blue line. Riley, pass in on the left wing. Nyes sending it down into the corner. Riley got there first to free it up for Matthews. Matthews back to the point. A one-timer taken by Marner, deflected wide of the goal. Kept in by O'Leal and back of the net for Nyes. Nyes eludes one. Still with it, trying to flip it in front of the net for Marner. Got it back again. Fed into the corner, centering pass by Matthews. No one home. Riley with a shot. Scores! Scores! Morgan Riley banks it off a Florida player. The Leafs have tied the game midway through the third. Holy mackerel, what a turn of events.
Great work by the Matthews line. Matthew Nyes, Joe, to be able to get the puck back off Brad Marchand. Kept the play alive in the Florida zone for the Leafs. And then Morgan Riley sneaking down from the right point. Throws it to the net. It goes off Sergei Bobrovsky's blocker, off his defenseman. I believe it was Seth Jones, right off the left shin pad. And into the net. And we are tied again, 4-4. And this series might be leading in ugly goals.
Oh, but what a series. What a playoff series Morgan Riley is having. 4th goal, along with 3 assists. Now the puck down in the Toronto end. Panthers trying to dig it free. Tanev has his man up against the boards. Played back to the point. Kept in with a long shot that deflected it on goal. Good save made there by Wall.
Chris Tanev had the sticks flashed out of his hands as he gave the side-eye look to the Florida player. I'm guessing it was Matthew Tkachuk.
I think it was Bennett who pulled the stick out of his hand, wasn't it?
Boy, and this was a shot that bounced in on Joseph Wall, a point shot that was redirected. And that might have been reviewed as a possible high stick that had gone in.
Riley will get the goal. Matthews and Matthew Nyes, I think, are going to draw the assist. Played around back of the Toronto goal. Up on the near wing, Schmidt is able to keep it in. Down into the corner, Bennett. Unable to get it in front of the net, though, was Rodriguez. And now Lawton looks to outlet and finds Benoit, who gets it up on the wing and is played ahead. And one-handed then by Yarncrook, but it goes into the bench and out of play. And play is stopped.
Well, if you go back to the playoff series between these two clubs in 2023 and the first 2 games of this series, we have had 6 straight 1-goal games between them. 4-1 game 1 in 2023 by a 4-2 score. Everything has been a 1-goal decision since then. So maybe we shouldn't be surprised at the score here with 8:07 to go.
Is tied at 4. Here's Schmidt carrying to center for the Panthers and getting it down into the Leaf end. Carlo taken to the boards by Nosek as it comes around on the far side. Domi is able to muscle it to the blue line but not get it out. Carlo will spin it around on the wall, and it is tipped out at center ice before being shot right back in again. Wall is able to settle it down, and the Leafs have it now with Morgan Riley playing it back for Brandon Carlo. Carlo, a lead pass at center, deflects down into the Florida zone. Quickly played back out again by Aaron Ekblad, and then Carlo brings it right back to get it to the line, but there's Seth Jones sending it down into the Toronto end. Back of the goal, stumbling with it there was Tanev. Back on his skates, though, and taking it back of the net, settling things down as he does. Got it out at center ice off a stick, but unable to move with it was Matthews as it's played back into the Leaf end, and Tanev turns with it there. Chris Tanev dropping it back for Jake McCabe. Left for Willie. Nylander with a little head fake and gaining center ice with speed down the right wing boards. Taken in along the wall there by Rodriguez. Had a pretty good hand of Willie's jersey, I thought. Puck along the boards. McMahon got it back to the point, and the Leafs can't keep it in as it comes to center ice. Played by Reinhart into the Toronto end. Around the boards, it'll go to Benoit. Benoit reverses the puck. It comes to the side of the net, and Wall had trapped it, but then turns it aside, and it is shot off a body down into Florida territory. No icing, and it is Nicola getting it along the boards and getting it out at center ice. Leafs have it at their own blue line. Morgan Riley What a series he's had. Shooting it right back down, but it's going to go high off a stick and into the screening and out of play. 6:12 left to play in the third period. The Maple Leafs on a goal from Riley. Matthews and Nyes with the assists has tied the game at 4.
Really, Florida, you've got to give them credit for the period that they've played. They kept everything to the outside, but one great shift on the forecheck by the Nyes-Marner-Matthews combination has led to a fortunate bounce in a tie game.
Draw, scrummed, Florida controls. Played ahead off a stick into the Toronto end. Carlo glancing over his shoulder to find Nyes, but Nyes didn't get it out, and a long shot is gloved, and one of the Panthers getting up slowly in the corner. That was Anton Lundell.
They've really campaigned for penalties, haven't they? And it might take something short of a felony to get a call here for either team at this point.
It is a 4-4 tie. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. A 4-4 tie in the third period. Leafs trying to take a stranglehold on the best-of-7 series. The Florida Panthers trying to salvage a game here to turn it into a series. What a playoff Morgan Riley's had.
That's been incredible.
But you know what? Every playoff run, he really cranks his game up. I don't think there's any question about it. Pass goes off a skate. Leafs get it to Marner. Marner dropping it back for Matthews. He leaves it now, and Jake McCabe will start out. McCabe dropping for Marner. Marner back to McCabe on the left wing to the red line. Shot in and around the board. It comes right out in front of the net, actually, off the corner boards. And Bobrovsky had to play it away. Puck goes high off a bodied into the corner. Matthews forces it around back of the net. Nyes can't get to it. Marner bumps his man. Puck is pushed up on the wall and out at center ice and down into the Leaf end, but there'll be no icing as it'll go back for Jake McCabe as both teams are changing. 5:16 to play, third period. The Leafs 4, the Panthers 4. McCabe is still back of the net. Tkachuk stationed out front, thinks about going after him, but the puck comes off the boards to center, deflected by Pontus Holmberg, but not into the zone. Shot back into the Toronto end. McCabe going back for it, gets it ahead, but off a stick, and played out at center ice on a good play made there by Tavares, who had his stick slashed and broken in half. Puck comes back into the Toronto end. Oliver Ekman-Larsson to center. Off a stick, but not into the zone. This time it's shot in on a delay, but the Panthers have it under control in their own zone. And a lead pass gets to the line, but stopped there by Bennett. He had to wait for teammates to get back on side before sending it in. Benoit skates around back of the net. Got it up on the wing, and Pacioretty gets it ahead. Back it over the line, Bobby McMahon. Little stutter step and centering pass. And Domi was there, but it was cut off before it reached the Leaf centerman. Played back at center now for Florida. In on the right side, a shot juggled by Wall, but it's grabbed off by Domi in an odd man rush developing here. Domi in over the line, left wing side, a shot, and that went wide of the net as Riley jumped into the rush again. McMahon after it, and now here's Lorenz curling out of the corner. Cycles it back around the boards to the near side. Barkov got it ahead, but took a hit in doing so. And it's at the Toronto blue line with 3:43 to play. On over the line for Toronto. Drop pass on the boards for Lorenz. Into the corner for Lawton. Lorenz kicking it free. Former Panther gets it back. Bouncing puck in front. Knocked away there by Bobrovsky. That was an interesting shot. Played back into the Toronto zone. Couple of collisions there. It goes around back of the Toronto net to the near side. And it'll be Tanev who will settle it down. He'll get it back again from his defense partner before playing it out at center. And the Leafs get it down into Florida territory. 3 minutes left to go in the third period. The Maple Leafs and the Panthers are tied at 4s. Deflects into the Toronto zone. Wall out of the cage to pump it back. On the wing for Nyes. Pushed ahead by Marner, and then he circles back to recover. Marner coming out of his own end. A pass ahead, deflects by Matthews, but it's going to go into the screen and go out of play. Did it go off Matthews or off the Florida player? Let's wait and see where they're going to face it off.
And looking at the ice time now, Joe Morgan Riley already at, well, I'm waiting for this to update. It was 8.
Jimmy, I think Riley hits the crossbar on that last chance.
I thought I heard a clank.
Well, your ears are better than mine. It was rather noisy in my headset.
What's that?
Huh?
We amuse ourselves.
No, I know. You know what? We are easily amused. There is no question about that. 2:29 to go, third period. Panthers in the corner, centering pass, blocked by Wall, and the Leafs get it elevated into the center ice and down into Florida territory. Forsling got it up ahead. Rodriguez to center. Brought in over the line on a drop pass by Ekblad and a shot directed wide by Wall. Ekblad has broken a stick, and the Leafs, Tavares, starts up the right wing boards with it. Tavares one-handing it to the line but couldn't get it in deep. Played back out at center, and Tanev has it at the Toronto blue line. 1:55 to play. A long shoot-in off the chest of Bobrovsky. Bobrovsky then, after it is Pacioretty.
Oh, they're going to call it. They're going to call the trip on Pacioretty with 1:47 to go here in the third.
Now, and whether it is or not, Bobrovsky could have gotten a penalty for interference just as Pacioretty was trying to get around the net.
TJ Luxmore is the official that has called it. This is a trip, as Pacioretty got caught chasing the play in behind the Florida net.
What? Now you're
right.
going to see it here. Watch. Bobrovsky comes out and then interferes with Pacioretty.
Yeah, as he's chasing. But it is a trip.
Third power play of the game for Florida. Penalty kill brought to you by CMC Markets. Take your trading to the next level with $0 commission on stocks. Minute 47 to go here in the third period. And the Panthers with a chance to win the game with their power play. They win the draw. Jones into the slot area and into the corner for Barkov. Centering pass intercepted. Marner weaves it out at center. Marner's in on the right side with a long shot that went wide. Ends up back of the net. Marner is interfered with there by Ekblad. And out come the Panthers to the Leaf zone. Wired around the boards by Reinhart. Trapped on the near side by Verhaeghe. Puck goes free to Tanev. Tanev up against the boards, got it freed up, and Marner being hounded, but protects it well, and then gets it out at center ice. Tkachuk with 1:09 left in the period. Sends it into the Toronto zone. Tkachuk back of the net. Tanev got it back along the boards. Played back to the point, kept in by Florida. Near side for Barkov. Barkov closes. Shot it over top of the goal and off the boards and glass. It comes to the point right side. Another shot high and wide of the goal. Near side for Barkov. Down into the corner, back of the net, Tkachuk. Back for Barkov. Back to Tkachuk. He's back of the goal. Onto the slot, a shot. That deflects wide of the Leaf goal. 37 seconds in the period. Leafs hanging on here. Barkov shot blocked. Barkov gets it again. Barkov blocked again. It goes wide into the far corner. Rattled around the boards. Barkov trapping again. 23 seconds to the point for Jones. Back into the slot. Diving. What a play made there. And I don't know who the Leaf was.
That was Austin Matthews, I think.
Thank you. Played into the center ice area. 9 seconds left as a shot down the ice by Toronto. And the Leafs are going to survive this part of the power play and send this game to overtime.
Joseph Wall solid on the penalty kill as well, Joe. There's still going to be a few seconds left to start overtime, where the Leafs, I believe it's 12 seconds, will remain. But take a look again, and boy, you know, we talked about Morgan Riley hitting the post. I think it glanced off Joseph Wall before that blast from the right wing circle, clinked off the crossbar and saved the Leafs. So we've had some strange goals, some ugly ones, and a lot of almost goals on both goaltenders that have hit iron and stayed out.
We are headed for overtime, the first time in this series, and we will ship it off to Jim Taddy along with Anthony Stewart to take you through our overtime intermission. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
But Florida has not played an overtime game so far this is their first in the postseason. So, eerily similar to what was going on in 2023. But the Leafs with a huge penalty kill. Well, we shouldn't say it's done yet. We've seen quick goals at the starts of periods between these two clubs, but the Leafs, a little bit of work to do here yet, as the penalty to Max Pacioretty needs to be killed off, and a face-off win should do that for the Leafs.
Morgan Riley from Matthews and Nyes at 10:56 to tie the game at 4s. Tavares has scored twice. Nyes has the other for Toronto. He started the game scoring 23 seconds for number 23 to start the game. He's pretty good at the end of periods, too. Well, here we go to overtime. Teams are at center ice. Leafs to the right, Panthers to the left. Official leans in, puck is dropped, we're underway. Jones off a face-off win, shoots it into the Toronto zone. Round on the boards, it's played back of the net, let go there by McCabe. Puck back in, McCabe cuts it off, chumps it up on the wing, and it's going to come out at center ice, and ahead for Pacioretty, who just stepped out of the penalty box, but he couldn't control the puck. But the Leafs have killed off the penalty. Brought back at center by Reinhart. Shot into the Toronto zone. Around on the far boards, it's going to go to Nyes. Nyes eludes one forechecker. Gets it up at center ice, just out of the reach of Nylander. But it is cleared high off the glass to center ice now by Florida. And then brought it over the line. A shot. Oh, what a good glove save. Made by Joey Wall off Anton Lundell.
Little confidence look there, too, wasn't it? As this is just banked off the right wing boards, and Lundell poked it past Morgan Riley to take it to the net, and Joseph Wall just snaps that.
Watched it right into the glove. Face off in the Toronto zone. Marchand, Lundell discussing something about the face off.
This has been the hottest line for the Florida Panthers.
Really has, yep. Matthews wins the face-off. Played off on the wing, and Marner trying to chip it ahead for Nyes. And they're going to call it offside by the linesman. So it'll be brought back out into the center ice area.
So he's got some unlikely heroes when it comes to overtime, but this is, to me, the most dominant game by the Matthews line, maybe in the playoffs.
Matthews has missed the target 19 times, which leads the NHL in missed shots. He may be trying to be too fine instead of just getting it on the net. Played off the boards to the line, not out. Batted by the Leafs then to center before it was shot right back in again. Wall out of the cage to find McCabe. Wall had to do a little Irish two-step to get out of the way back of the net. Now here's Matthews in across the line, working wide, dropping it back for Nyes. Nyes barges in along the boards, lost a handle on it, and it is grabbed off then by Florida, and I'll launch it into the center ice area, but the Leafs get it back again, punching it back towards the blue line. Puck in the center ice area now, and Toronto restores back at their own zone. Oliver Ekman-Larsson with the lead pass in over the line. Willie Nylander into the near half boards, dropping it back a shot, and that was deflected wide off Pontus Holmberg's stick by goaltender Bobrovsky. Puck along the boards, comes back into the slot area, and it is cleared by Florida to center ice before Carlo shoots it right back in again. Holmberg down the boards, takes a hit and gets flattened, but he's back on his skates as it comes back to Riley. Centering pass went off Holmberg and went wide. Leafs get it back to Riley again, who sends a weak shot wide of the goal. Panthers with it again, getting it up on the wing. And it'll be played to the line and just out at center ice before Toronto tries to get it back into the zone. But now Again, a couple of turnovers, and Scotty Lawton is down the right wing boards. Lawton trying to work into the corner. Gets it back of the net. Lawton now for Yarncrook. Oh, he took an elbow right in the yap and went down hard. Puck comes along the boards on the near side, and it's back out into the center ice area. That wasn't a penalty?
Not now.
Here's Tanev working up on the wing for McCabe. Left wing feed, chipped in over the line, and Marner goes into the corner after it. Got a hit in on Seth Jones. Marner back of the net with it. Spun it into the slot, and the shot is into the glove of Bobrovsky off the stick of OEL.
And again, the Matthews line, great on the forecheck, get in, force the turnover, and control the puck. But, oh, man, yes. Does Sam Bennett ever catch Yarncroc with an elbow? Boy, Sam Bennett, I tell you, if I was him, I'd be buying lottery tickets every day.
No kidding. Well, as long as he shares it with the referee, I think it'll be fine. But draw in the Florida zone to the left. Matthews to take the face-off. The draw scrum, but controlled by Florida. Brought out by Sam Reinhart, who is lifting it high to the blue line. Batted back for Riley. Riley steps around one to get it ahead for Nyes, who gets it into the zone. Marner will forecheck here on Ekblad. Ekblad taken to the boards by Nyes, but the puck is pushed out at center ice. And on the left wing side, Alexander Barkov can't get into the zone cleanly, and the Leafs start back at center. Matthews to the line and in on the right side. It works in on the backhand into the corner, stops it up, looks in front of the net, now takes a shot. That was blocked, and it's cleared out and down the ice by Florida, and they'll go back, no icing. McCabe reverses the puck for Riley. Riley gets it ahead. Pacioretty's pass intercepted and shot back down into Toronto territory. Wall out of the cage to pump it around on the boards. Pacioretty involved in the battle there, and the Leafs are banking it out at center for Bobby McMahon. One hand's into the zone. McMahon had to go right by him, and now the Panthers get it out at center, only to have Jake McCabe send it back in, but not deep enough. Now Marchand in on the right side, and a shot rather by Schmidt. Excuse me, it was Nate Schmidt who got the shot away.
Nate Schmidt had 3 goals in the first 2 games in their series against the Tampa Bay Lightning, including what turned out to be the game winner early in Game 2. Shutout win for the Panthers. You talk about a guy that knows just get it to the net. Right now, it's another defenseman that has sent this game into overtime. Morgan Riley's goal midway through the third.
Draw in the Toronto zone to the left. Tavares and Bennett facing off. And Tavares scrummed the draw, got it into the corner, but Tkachuk gets there first, tried to center. That's knocked back. Here's Verhaeghe trying to take it to the net. He was knocked down. Puck goes around back of the net. Tanev is after it there. Puck goes along the boards back of the Toronto goal. Fed up on the wing. Tkachuk has his pocket picked by Nylander. Nylander's cruising through center. Off on the wing it goes to Pontus Holmberg. Tried to get it in front of the net and it was knocked away. Panthers get it ahead, but too far for Verhaeghe. Verhaeghe's around back of the net. Engaged in there by the Leaf defense. Marner, or at least the pass ahead for Nylander, but he didn't poke it past. Now here's a chance for the Panthers trying to get it freed up for Verhaeghe. Stolen back and played off the boards by the Leafs, and now Lawton will make sure it gets out at center. Panthers send it right back in again, but this might be icing. And even though I couldn't see the linesman with his hand up, I thought I made a hell of a call.
That's a rule that has been around a while.
I know that.
It was dumbed down.
Oh, yeah? Smarty pants? When did it come in?
1937.
No, it was 36. That wonderful
36,
year.
37.
36,
season,
37 season, yeah. All right.
Probably.
Probably. Not a chance. Face off in the Florida zone to the right. Matthews out there for Toronto. Scrums the draw, but Florida gets it into the corner. Jones played it up on the boards but couldn't get it out. Nosek got it back to the net for Jones. Jones has played it out at center, and Marner traps it in the neutral zone and drops it back for Jake McCabe. McCabe up on the wing for Tanev, and down into the zone it goes. We're approaching 6 minutes played in overtime. Tied at 4s. Marner couldn't kick it in front of the net. Nyes and McCabe block it, and it's cleared out at center. McCabe broke his stick, and Tanev has to get rid of it and finds Benoit, who replaced him, and send it in. Here comes Benoit into the forecheck, but couldn't get the stick on the puck and quickly gets back to his defensive responsibilities. Leafs do keep it in, though, but Lawton had to roll off his stick. Brought to center ice and shot in by Sam Reinhart. Round the boards to the far side and fed around to the near wing. It's good to escape the zone and come to center. Kulikov for Florida. Right back into Toronto territory it goes. Reinhart taken to the boards. Rodriguez back of the net with it. Rodriguez trying to one-hand his way out in front. Lawton doing a good job protecting that. Back into the far corner, comes back to the blue line. Near side, Kulikov shot. Deflected wide of the goal, harmlessly into the corner. Barkov trying to center. Off the stick of OEL. And up into the screen it goes to stop play.
This is really a continuation of the last 10 minutes, right? And both teams not wanting to make that mistake.
Lawton made a good block in front of Wall off his skate.
Sometimes you got to be so careful, Joe, when you take a man in front, how your skate blades are angled.
Yeah, don't go north-south. You want to go east-west, don't you? Face off to the left of Wall. Puck in the corner. Tavares got it to the line, but it doesn't clear initially, and now it does. Pontus Holmberg got it ahead, brings it in over the line. Holmberg with a shot. That was stopped by Bobrovsky. Holmberg had his stick knocked out of his hands. Trying to regain it now. He's in front of the net if they can get him the puck, but it is grabbed off by Florida. They'll launch it high to center. Marchand had to try and stay on side, and the Leafs come away with the loose puck. Riley back at the net as changes are being made, I assume, as he stations himself behind the goal. Long lead pass. Deflects down into Florida territory. Bobrovsky left it back of the net. Far side for Bobby McMahon. McMahon into the corner for Domi. Back for McMahon and now Domi. Domi back to the point. Settling it down. Jake McCabe, a shot. And that went just wide. Kept in by Tanev. Pumped around the boards. It'll come into the near corner. Into the forecheck. There was McMahon, who forces it back of the goal. And he'll head to the bench. Kulikov waiting for his teammates to finish changing. Matthews' line is over the boards. Played down off a glove and off the glass and over the glass and into somebody's hands. And a stoppage of play with 12:12 left in the first overtime period. Gary Roberts' goal in the third overtime, I think, is the longest game I've done.
Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
It was off of face-off.
Matthews wins the draw. Got it back to Tanev. Tanev goes to his defense partner. Jake McCabe with a pass up the middle. Deflects to the line. Nyes gets it the rest of the way into the zone. Matthews into the forecheck, but the Panthers get it away. And now here is Barkov trying to come out with it. Forced wide by Nyes. Chopped at then by Mikkola just to get it out. Leafs have it at their own blue line. Again, change is coming. Shifts get shorter and shorter as this game goes on. Here's Benoit getting it up and sending it in. Pontus Holmberg into the forecheck, but can't catch up to Seth Jones. Jones with an outlet pass that went astray. Wow, what a generous wave off of no icing. And this has a turnover attached to it now. Oliver Ekman-Larsson to Tavares. Back of the net for Benoit. Benoit gets it out. Here's Nylander in. Wow, Willie got behind everybody again almost. Now he has it again for Tavares. Nylander sending it in around back of the net. How was that not offside? He took the pass almost about 5 feet inside the zone, didn't he? Here the Panthers again, shooting it right back in again. Wall glancing it over the boards, makes a nice little outlet pass for Holmberg. Holmberg got it ahead, and it's sent in then by Yarncrook. Yarncrook into the corner. Lawton misses a hit. The puck goes free, and out come the Panthers at center ice. Working in over the line, 3-on-3. Tkachuk sends it into the corner. Round on the far side it goes. Shot smothered by Wall.
Boy,
Jake McCabe has got the nerve of a riverboat gambler.
Well,
you explain.
That was, the rebound comes out and is right at the feet of Jake McCabe, who is almost nose to nose with Joseph Wall. And has no, I mean, you don't have time to turn and make a play with it, so he slid it right back into his goaltender. We see that Nylander was in fact onside, right?
Boy, it was close. It would have been reviewed, I think.
Bounced off his skate, and he was able to catch up to it and try to go far side on Bobrovsky.
Face off with 10:28 to go in this first overtime. Coming in the Toronto zone. Lawton will take the draw against Nosek. And the draw scrummed. Nosek gets it back to the blue line, but it's coming out over the line. Shot back in by Florida, but the Leafs have a delay going here as they start out with it. McCabe up the middle and off a stick and into the zone. Cleared away by goaltender Bobrovsky. Shot back out and down into the Toronto zone, forcing Tanev back. Tanev banking it off the end boards. McCabe played it along the boards, and then it was intercepted, and the shot went just wide. Nylander circles back behind the goal. Here comes Willie. Out of his own zone, Nylander with speed through the neutral zone and hits the line. Got it in with a shot. That was off the stick and easily saved there by Bobrovsky. Back come Florida to shoot it into the Leaf zone. Oliver Ekman-Larsson down the boards, let it go, and the Leafs break it out at center. In across the line, drop pass by Tavares looking for Benoit, but it was passed, was intercepted, and it's cleared back into the Toronto end. Barkov taking Benoit to the boards. Nylander ringing the boards with it to get it out, and Matthews finds Pontus Holmberg. Holmberg tried to make a little move with it, then a backhand by Matthews was kicked aside by Bobrovsky. Played right back down into the Toronto end. Marchand let it go or couldn't get it, and that brings Marner back to the attack. To Austin Matthews, left wing side shooting. That was blocked before it reached the net. Sent around the boards far side. Trapped by Carlo. Sent back in for Matthews. Curling out of the corner. Back to Carlo. A shot in traffic is blocked. And three of the Panthers will get it to center and get it into the Toronto end. Trying to drive the net was Lundell. Taken out efficiently there by Brandon Carlo. Played out at center then by Marner as the Leafs are trying to get a change going. Panthers are doing likewise. 8:35 to go, first overtime. Tied at fours. Panthers with four of them across the blue line to Tkachuk. Tkachuk down into the corner, a shot, and that deflected wide. Rebound back to the left point, kept in by Florida. Sent into the corner. Panthers trying to get it back in the net for Tkachuk. Rattled out in front, it goes to Bennett. Bennett at the top of the circle with a shot blocked. Rebound kept in. Bennett with it again. Down into the corner, coming out in front. Great poke check by Joey Wall. Cleared off the boards and down into Florida territory. Icing waved off. McCabe back in his own zone. What a great poke check that was, Jimmy.
Donnie Bauer would have been proud of that.
Oh, would he ever. Tanev back for McCabe. Pass ahead, off a stick into the offensive zone. Tavares into the attack. Can't come up with the puck. Played up on the wing. Pass McCabe to center. Barkov working in on the right side on his backhand. Drove the net. That has stopped. The puck is taken around back of the net and cleared out and down into the Florida zone. Tavares will pressure, but it's cleared back out into neutral ice. Bringing it in on the left wing now is Reinhart. Trying to drive the net. Stopped by Wall on the short side. Puck on the near boards. Back into the corner once more. Benoit chasing his man. Played back to the point. Walking the line, Forsling. Forsling shot high and wide. Side of the goal. Knocked to the front. Smothered by Wall. Well, for long enough. The whistle went.
We talked about how Joseph Wall didn't look comfortable in the first two periods of this game. And like game two, Joe, he seems to have found his stride. And he really hasn't had anything clear-cut in overtime or even in the third period. But you just see how he's handling pucks, like you mentioned the poke jack a little earlier. That's when you're feeling pretty good about your game. And you're able to do that. Sergei Bobrovsky, probably the best chance was Willie Nylander, right, coming off the right wing.
Yep.
We're at the point now, we have seen, whether it was Jake Sanderson or Simon Benoit, where innocent-looking point shots.
Never know.
Yep.
You're right.
And then the game in overtime.
6:56 to go. And Wall is at the bench having a little bit of nourishment. I'm assuming they are shoveling the ice. As John Tavares leads the Leafs in overtime goals. He's had 3. Benoit, Domi, Nyes, Lawton, Matthews, Riley, and Tanev have all scored overtime winning goals in their careers.
John Tavares with a pair in this game. Now has 5 here in the postseason. Like we said, coming into this game, he'd gone 4 straight without a point. Now, certainly, that really reflect how he was playing. But early on was on fire in the Ottawa series.
Wall heading back to his goal. 32-30 the shots. It shows you how tight and even this game has been.
And despite the huge swings in momentum.
Face-off in the Toronto end. Matthews will take the face-off. Draw to the right of Wall. No, not dropped yet. They're moving a little bit. Now the puck is won cleanly by Florida. Shot wide of the goal then by Mikkola, gone into the near corner. Marchand trying to get it back to the point, and he has. Jones gets it back into the corner on the near side. Tanev is in there to get it freed up. Now it comes to the side of the goal.
Wait, Austin
Matthews trying to get it back at the net.
Just couldn't get a handle on it. And eventually it slid towards his goaltender. Fortunately, no Florida player there to pick it off. It was almost like the puck was sticking to the ice, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. 6:41 to go in the period. Draw to the left of Wall this time, one cleanly. Here's Florida at the point. Jones to the right wing side. Rodriguez shot deflected off of McCabe. McCabe against the boards, got it freed up, and now Nyes starts away for Toronto. Nyes at center. Did he get past center? No, he did not, says the linesman. And it's going to be an icing call, and Matthew Nyes is disagreeing.
Matthew Nyes had a huge goal in overtime to keep the season alive for the Leafs last year. Game 5 in Boston.
.625 to go now in the first overtime period. Face off to the right of Joey Wall. Matthews has been given a warning and now settles back in. And the draw one cleanly, and a shot was blocked before it reached the net. Marner playing it off the glass to center and racing after it. Nyes trying to break in on the backhand. Oh, what a save made by Bobrovsky. Back the other way it goes for Rodriguez. Rodriguez closes, can't get a shot. Then he does, and it hit his player right in the seat of the pants. Matthew Nyes with that explosive acceleration. And even though they've been on for a while, almost won it. Bennett gets it up on the wing, and it's shot down into the Toronto zone. Along the boards, cut off by the Leafs, and launched high to center ice. Jones will turn with it there to play it back. Cut off there by Pontus Holmberg. Can't get into the zone. And then the turnover returns, and now Nylander gets down in over the line. He's taken down by Jones. Panthers get it back at center. Long wrist shot deflected wide of the goal by Wall. Back of the net for Bennett. Bennett trying to come out of the corner with it. Back to the point, closing with it. Kulikov shot it wide of the net. At the nearest point, it's Bennett sending it to the goal, blockered away by Wall. Leafs running around a little bit here, but it is cut off by Tavares. He couldn't get it out. Still back at the blue line, kept in. Kulikov back into the corner. Stick knocked out of Carlo's hands, but he'll have to regain it. Panthers at the point. Schmidt near side. Kulikov back to Schmidt. Schmidt on the left wing. Into the slot. A shot by Verhaeghe. That went off the mark wide. But good pressure here from Florida. Here's Marchand. Wrist shot coming. Scores! It goes off something. It goes up and over Joe Wall. And the little ball of hate has given the Panthers life in this series.
The Leafs had about 4 shifts in a row, Joe, where they were hemmed into their own zone. Like we said, when you start playing the law of averages, that's where Florida was eventually full marks for the fortunate bounce. As this is from the left wing circle, just thrown to the net. The Leafs sent it to overtime and a fortunate bounce. And the Florida Panthers are back in the series by equaling that in overtime. Final shots were 36-31 for the Panthers, but shot number 36 has them back in this series with a 2-1 Toronto lead. And taking a look at it again, who is it? It's Morgan Riley.
Goes off Morgan Riley boy. Right in the slot. Yep.
Who says the hockey gods don't keep score, right? I mean, this is similar. It goes off his hip, then up in the air and over the head of Joseph Wall.
The shot initially, I think, was going well wide from Marchand, so they catch an enormous break.
And we said this earlier. I mean, this series, the number of ugly goals that we have seen in this series, both teams, has been incredible, and that includes the overtime winner here in Game 3.
So that means there will be a Game 5 back in Toronto next week. But before that, Game 4 will be in Florida on Sunday night, 7:30 start. We'll have that action for you and hope that you will join us at that time. Jim Taddy and Anthony Stewart standing by to dissect this one. The Leafs had a 2-0 lead, almost 3-0. But the Florida Panthers showed the heart of a champion. They marched their way back, took the lead. Morgan Riley sent the game to overtime in the third period. But a lucky bounce for Brad Marchand gives them the win in OT by a score of 5-4. You've been listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.